If you're ready to immerse yourself in a truly fascinating novel, I invite you to visit my Patreon page. If you're looking for an amazing novel, visit my Patreon page. Your support will help turn this story into an exciting audiobook. Join me on this journey.
Reincarnated as Superman. Chapter 1. Kal-El to Clark Kent. It felt like a dream. A very drunken dream in which I could not hear or see properly. Blurry images are what I saw, sometimes of a man wearing a ridiculous-looking headpiece, blue lights flashing on and off, but mostly of a beautiful woman speaking something softly to me and kissing my face all over. As I open my eyes this time, I find myself staring at those two faces again. The woman was crying. I couldn't understand what they were saying but a word, a name, which they kept saying repeated countless times in my head, and suddenly I had a moment of clarity. Kal-El. After which I found myself hugged and kissed by both of them, making me aware of my tiny hands and body. I tried to speak, but all I managed was to cry aloud, making the woman sob and saying something to the man, after which I was placed down from their hands, and then they were separated from me by a glass. I heard loud noises. After a while I find myself staring down on what seems to be like a planet. I was awake now, seeing this planet, knowing I could do nothing for what was about to happen. Boom. It was so bright I couldn't open my eyes. This explosion confirmed it. I have been reincarnated as Kal-El, better known as Superman. I was an otaku in my previous life, lived my whole 20s through it. Never accomplished anything. I had good parents at least, who were rich enough to let me live my life as I want. I loved DC Comics Superman, Batman, Flash, Joker, Justice League, Injustice League, from comics to figurines I had them all. It's not like I disliked Marvel. I liked it, but just the movies, I guess. I died, I suppose, and reincarnated. Never remembered specifically dying or getting any wishes, but I am not complaining. If I had to guess, I will say heart attack while sleeping. Totally won't surprise me. And I am freaking Superman now. Like, not right now. I am a baby right now, but in the future, like the real Superman, the man, one of the most op characters of all time. And that would mean I am in DC Multiverse. But the question is which one? What era of Superman I am? No point in thinking about that right now. My parents just died, didn't they, Jor-El and Lara? My planet Krypton exploded too. I don't feel that sad though, probably because of not knowing them as much. Still a bit sad seeing the people you just saw dying, especially my new beautiful mother. That reminds me, what about my cousin, Kara, Supergirl? In the comics she was launched just behind me and gets sucked into Phantom Zone because of the explosion. I tried and opened my eyes to check, but I was getting all dizzy, and before I knew it I was asleep again. I woke up finding myself staring at two new faces. A kind woman and a rugged man's face. I hope they are Martha and Jonathan Kent, making me at the famous Kent farm in Smallville, Kansas right now. And I was right, they were, and I could understand them too. I guess Lara and Jor-El conversed in Kryptonian, which I can't speak or understand. My new parents are really nice people, like who would adopt an alien child. Good thing they haven't seen the Brightburn movie. And no, I would not go dark side. So forget that happening. So from today I will be Clark Kent now, and I will be the most handsomest, coolest, strongest Superman ever. Chapter 2. Super Baby. Jonathan and Martha brought me back to their home. I guess they are my mom and dad now. All the way in the car to the house, I struggled to breathe. I knew this was just a process and it would be easier for me as a baby to adjust to the Earth's atmosphere. I tried to take hard breaths, as suffocation was not a pleasant experience. My new mom and dad looked worried and kept praying. I knew once the sun rises everything would be fine. Killing a Kryptonian, even a baby on Earth, is almost impossible for normal humans. So I would definitely survive. What I was worried about was the spaceship or the capsule I came in. I do not know how Jonathan would bring it back to his farm and into the shed nearby. Getting dizzy, I knew all I could do to help was sleep and scream anyway. I woke up in the morning feeling all better. Like literally I could see and hear better. No more blurry visions. This just made me realize how broken Kryptonians are in the presence of a young son, and I was no more than a couple of days old. I saw Martha holding me close like I was gonna disappear from her arms. She was still asleep, exhausted from yesterday, I guess. My new dad wasn't in sight. I poked her cheeks to wake her up. She looked beautiful. Maybe it was the motherly love or something. She woke up and started inspecting me and making baby sounds, making me all giggle. She then took me in her arms and brought me outside. I was watching us moving outside near to direct sunlight. I was having weird twilight flashbacks, feeling I would start sparkling all of a sudden under the sun. That didn't happen obviously, but the moment sunlight touched me, it felt like electricity was running through my body. I felt euphoric, almost orgasming. Weird considering I am only a baby. But I knew this was all just a feeling, and in reality my Kryptonian cells are just being charged. The source of Superman's power, my power, the yellow sun. Krypton, being almost 27 light-years away from this Earth and being 1,000 times bigger than it, has a red sun as its star. Red means an older star, yellow a younger version, which makes me, or any Kryptonian for that matter, supercharged under the younger sun. It sounds like I am just a solar-charged battery, but it would in essence make me nigh invincible under this sun. In the future, I mean. Right now I just want to sleep in my new mother's arms feeling the sunlight on my face, and that's what I did. Martha felt happy seeing me smile, and brought a chair to sit outside in the sun waiting for his husband to return. I started walking by evening on the first day. Mom and Dad were very happy and a bit shocked, but apparently they did expect an alien baby to be different. I spoke my first words as Martha. 3 days after. I was planning it and it was hilarious for me, and I wanted to do it in Batman's voice too, but all that came out was, "Ma," which made Mom all tear up, which was followed by kisses and hugs all day. There was this other thing. On the first day after coming back, my dad showed a black crystal to my mom. It was pointed at one end and had an S mark above on the other flat end. I immediately recognized it as the key to the Fortress of Solitude. It did verify one of my doubts. Apparently I was the Codex. Kryptonians were a very advanced civilization. So advanced that they had an artificial birth system. Natural births were banned for centuries. They liked to control all the people within and had decided to alter genetically what the said path or function of a newborn would be. I was the only natural-born child in centuries breaking that custom and gaining my own path. In the movie it shows that Jor-El, my father, transferred all of the Codex, the genetic material of all the generations of Kryptonians within my cells, technically making me the best among them. I could, with the help of a genetic chamber which is in the North Pole inside the Fortress of Solitude right now, make a new Krypton. Or I could just make a harem and repopulate Kryptonians the old-fashioned way. I am definitely not going to be like the original Superman ignoring all the girls. He was too much of a good guy, I guess. But right now as a super baby all I can sleep with is Martha. Chapter 3. Kansas. I knew it was gonna happen. I was always waiting for it. I was ready for it. The day when I get all my senses heightened to superhuman, or I can say Superman's level. There are thresholds, I believe, of how much my body can store the solar energy in it, and when a certain threshold is reached my body changes and absorbs it to make me stronger. First comes the 3 easier ones. Sight, smell, and hearing, which from the first day kept getting better and better as the days progressed. The second is the body, which not only meant physical strength but also endurance, agility, and durability. Evident by the fact that I could walk on my first day and have been running and jumping around the house and farm ever since. I do get tired still, but my endurance has been increasing a lot. If I didn't enjoy Martha's oh-so-soft body and those heavenly marshmallows, I would try and experiment how long I could stay awake. Third, and the most important as well as deadly, my eyes, which includes X-ray vision and heat ray. I have been doing a lot of meditation lately, to try and maybe feel the solar energy within. Feeling a lot like a cultivator of those Chinese novels. I did not feel a thing yet. I do feel getting powerful sometimes. Maybe I am still too young and my body is not ready yet. Days turned to months, and after 10 months my parents took me on a play date to their friend's house who apparently had a daughter similar to my age. I was told so many do's and don'ts of how I shouldn't speak fluently and to be careful of my strength all the time. How I should be gentle with a girl while playing. My parents looked so nervous. This was an experiment for them as well and a test for all my future interactions. This lecture kept going until we were in front of their house. They lived in the city, giving me a nice view of how the small town of Kansas looked like on the road. I was held in Martha's arms as we knocked on the door. Looking at the size of the house, they were comparatively well off, I think, in Kansas. Not that it mattered much to me. We were greeted by a blonde man and a brunette, both good-looking. After the pleasantries, I was kept in a baby crib with a small kid wearing pink who had a bit of golden hair on her head. Lana was her name. I instantly knew that she was Lana Lang, a supposedly childhood friend and crush of mine in the future. I started poking her cheeks and hugging her, which was playing around as kids, I guess. She giggled cutely, which all the kids are until they start crying. It was a fun day for me. I had decided early on that I would thoroughly enjoy my childhood without any extra worries until my powers start manifesting, that is. We went back to the house and my parents praised me for how well behaved I was and how they would take me out more often if I was this well behaved. By the way, I did decide that Lana will be in my harem. I have one more target in Smallville, but she won't be getting here until high school, so Lana will be the only one until then. Time moved very slow in Kansas. Or maybe it was just my heightened time perception. I attended school, now had my own friends and my faithful follower Lana, who has grown cuter over the years. I was very smart according to my first grade teacher. And was taller than everyone in the class. And then one morning I woke up to what seemed like a crowd shouting in my ears, making me close my ears shut with my hands as tightly as I can. But as I opened my eyes all the sound went away as in front of me were 100% real naked boobies. Chapter 4. Super. Before I could appreciate them, I was seeing what looked like muscles in the figure of a woman. I knew my X-ray vision was activating, and thank God that I woke up facing Martha's side, not Jonathan's. Honestly, it reminded me of Titans from that manga, seeing it was in similar red color. This was a whole new level of naked. I could see through the muscular system as I was thinking this. It changed again. As I raise my head, I see a skeleton head with hollow eyes staring down at me. I was scared for a second before remembering how X-ray works. It was all blue in color. The bones were a strange fluorescent bluish white. All of this happened within seconds, and then my vision returned normal, and I could see my mom's face again. Before I could think or feel happy, I felt hot in my eyes. Horrified by what was gonna happen, I closed my eyes shut as tightly as I could and tried to calm down. Instead of calming down, my mind went through the scenarios of that horror movie Brightburn. That would not have been funny at all. My eyes felt normal after a second. Still, I was kind of scared to open them. I pushed myself against the bed and landed perfectly on the ground. It's good to know that my strength has not drastically increased yet. Eyes still closed, I moved out of my house and ran to the farm. I was strangely able to tell where all things were. I gained observation hockey too, I guess. Feeling that no one was around me, I opened my eyes. Good, at least no lasers were shooting out of them. Now I know how Cyclops felt. I sat down on the ground and began to meditate. I still couldn't sense any of that solar energy thing. I concentrated on my eyes and suddenly I could see perfectly through my eyelids. It wasn't exactly X-ray vision, as I know what I have is a see-through ability. It does behave like X-ray sometimes. I could see the world perfectly in all its colors with my eyes closed. I concentrated more and then I could see my own muscles perfectly. One more time and I could see my bones. And just then I remembered about those voices I was hearing, which woke me up. Suddenly, like a switch was turned on, it got loud again. It was worse than the last time. I could hear some strange insect sounds, hoarse sounds to the sounds of people talking, breathing, and it started to feel like my head would explode from all this noise. I took deep breaths and concentrated on hearing my heartbeat. I had already thought about this long and hard, and this was the only solution I had if I wanted to do it without anyone's help. My heartbeats were long and slow. I felt serene listening to it. The sun was shining on me, and for the first I felt some kind of energy. Some power which with every heartbeat was increasing steadily. Before I could focus on that feeling, I imagined the scene of Black Widow saying the sun's getting real low to me instead of Hulk, making me laugh and breaking my focus. Oh, this meditation thing is hard. I was not ready to test the laser yet. But those voices are like automatically filtered now. If I think about it, they start again, and then I will have to focus on my breathing and heartbeat to stop them. It does not take more than 10 to 15 seconds. Still, I need to practice if I want to be able to focus on any object. I went near the main road and tried to see real far, and I could. Not sure how far, but I could see the town, which was pretty far, I think. I went back and Mom was awake, asking where I went and telling me to hurry or I would be late for school. I told her that I can see and hear so much more and asked if I could take a sick leave from school for like a week. She was surprised and said that I was a special child and told me that these abilities were a gift, thinking that I did not know of my origin. She called the school and asked me to rest and sleep if I am not feeling okay. But I insisted on staying outside. She knew how much I love to play in the sun and agreed. And then went to have a talk with my dad. I tried to eavesdrop with my super hearing, but it was like a floodgate and I still had not enough control over it. Now I have like a week to train myself enough so that they do not consider me a freak at school. As I have already planned on having a wonderful social and school life, right now though I needed to meditate. Oh, if only I had a cave for seclusion, I would totally not call it a bat cave. Chapter 5. Training 1. My mom kept asking me what's wrong. Both Mom and Dad now knew I lied yesterday. After dinner I said I was gonna meet Lana at her house and probably stay overnight, but then came back home very late at night. I just said I am sorry and went to bed. In the morning I did not get up and told them I was sick. Number 8-year-old gets this much freedom, but seeing how down I looked and how adamant I was, they let me be. I know they want answers. I know they want to help, but I can never tell them what really happened. I don't even want to think about it. I let my mind wander to how much I have progressed over the years. 5 days was all I needed to get my X-ray and hearing under control. And that too because I wasn't able to practice or meditate the whole time. As soon as she got home that day, Lana urged her mom to take her to Clark's house. She knew from the class teacher that he has a high fever and won't be able to attend class for some days. She even asked her mom to make soup for him, which she will personally make him drink so he can get better soon. When I was doing my meditation, I heard a car sound coming in our farm's direction. I tried my abilities out and was surprised to see Lana and her mom coming here. Seeing her little cute face all worried, I instantly knew what happened. I hurried back, told Mom about it, and dashed into my bed with a blanket on. It was almost night when they went back. I had to fake that I was sick. Lana made me drink the soup and was chatting the entire time of how boring school was today without me, and how she needs to learn how to make soup for me, if I ever get sick again. Honestly, I did not feel guilty at all. Just happy that how wonderful this new life is. She is just 5-year-old. Still she cares so much about me. She came by every day making my time to practice shorter. Still I was getting very good at my powers. I think my memory is getting very strong too. Kryptonians were a very advanced race, so it should not come as a shock that I would be smart if I try. That's why I had started reading books from the library before. How I got to know about my almost eidetic memory. Well, I just used my newly acquired power on Lana's mom, and when they went away, I was kinda reminiscing those curves when the image just popped into my head with all the details. So yeah, it's like a picture now which will be stored forever within my memory banks. I just kept using X-ray as much as I could. On the ground, sky, mom and dad, myself. I tried to go as small as I could, as far as I could, and as long as I could. When I get headaches I would switch to meditation, and then to hearing. X-ray was easier. Super hearing took time, but what I wanted was achieved on the 5th day when I kind of marked my mom and dad somehow. It felt odd, like if I close my eyes I can find where they are, and kinda passively hear everything they say. If I choose to listen to it, the best thing is I can hear their heartbeats, particularly when they change drastically. It happened when I was out after dinner in the farm, when I could feel my mom's heart rate spike like she got scared by something. I was almost gonna rush back when I saw through my X-rays that a horror movie was going on and could hear the screams of a girl frightened by some ghost on TV. That looked like a very bad movie. Whatever, at least mom and dad were watching it very aptly. I was thinking of scaring them a bit, but I had work to do, like how and when did I mark her? It took some time, and on the next day I was able to mark my dad too. It was not scientific, but I am Superman. Even my flight is more like magic and not science. It feels like I can tell people apart. Maybe it's aura or life force, and if I concentrate on it and wish to find them or keep an eye on them, then I am able to do so. I knew that the heartbeat thing doesn't work for all people, like I tried marking both Lana and her mother. But I was able to hear the heartbeat of only Lana after she reached home. I could tell in which direction her mom was, but I felt the connection between us wasn't that strong. So maybe it depends on my feelings towards them or the amount of intent I can muster up, or maybe I am just not strong enough yet. Chapter 6. Training, 2. After that leave, school was the same, and I shifted my main focus to my body and meditation. I wanted to fly as soon as possible, but all I could do was jump very high. It was a good thing my house was so far out from the town, and from anyone's watch for that matter. I could let myself loose and was now starting to help out my dad on the farm too. I just did everything fast. I wanted my brain and hand-eye coordination to keep up with my body's increasing agility. One day I told mom and dad about my increasing powers, and that I have an eidetic memory with a perfect recall, which basically translated to I remember everything that happened during my childhood. I just said that they are still my parents and I love them, and did not continue the topic after that. Mom hugged me and told me that I am their gift from heavens, and one day the whole world will get to know my name. I just kept imagining myself flying in a red cape that night. I was surprised that they did not ask me questions, nor did I ask them to show me that ship. It's too early for that. Sometimes I just love how simple and loving my parents are. The heat vision, I did practice it, but not much. At least once a week, I would run fast and go very far in the mountains, which were almost outside of Kansas, find an open space near a river, and use it on the ground or the rocks or the river itself. I will focus on my eyes and look at the target and think that I want to burn it, and then my eyes will start feeling hot. From my perspective it looked like I was firing red beams, and wherever they went they would heat up the thing. I could kinda increase and decrease the intensity. In the start it did not last long. Almost 3 to 5 seconds, and then my eyes would feel itchy for a while. I will resume doing that again after 5 minutes. Over time I was getting better at it, lasting almost 30 seconds on low intensity. I blasted a rock bigger than me when I used the full intensity from the start, which I could keep up for just 2 seconds. I had a big goofy smile that whole day, imagining myself using my heat vision against Darkseid's Omega rays. At school I was getting popular, my class teacher asking if I wanted to skip this class and take a higher class exam. I refused, and so did my parents. I know that when my abilities mature I would be able to consume knowledge at a very fast rate, and so I was not worried about completing my studies faster. I wanted to have a normal popular school life for a change, which I couldn't in my previous life. I knew the years were messed up in this DC universe, so everything would be relative to me time-wise, or would change a lot from canon. So I knew that probably nothing would happen to Nora Allen, the mother of Flash, on March 18, 2000. This day Flash and Reverse Flash went back in time for a fight, and Reverse Flash kills his mother, which gave birth to Flash in a way. But I was only 8 years old and Barry was 12 when this happened, and he is supposed to be younger than me, so probably wouldn't happen this year. And even if I know where Central City is, confronting Reverse Flash at this point of time is just stupid. And he would definitely not let me interfere with his plans. So in September, when I heard that a new movie called The Mark of Zorro is going to be released in theaters, I was half expecting it, as my future best friend will also be 8 this year in Gotham. Chapter 7. Dark Knight, 1. I have to witness this historic scene with my own eyes. That was the only thought in my mind after I heard that movie's name. And soon it was September 19th, the supposed day. I packed an extra set of clothes, a pair of shoes, some of my saved pocket money and a bottle of water in my school bag. I needed nothing, but still I wanted to prepare at least something. I lied to my parents saying I was going to Lana's house and would probably stay there for the night. Lana promised that she would help me out this time if my mom called, but I will have to stay one night at her house next week for real, which I had no problem promising. When asked what I was gonna do, I replied I was going for a treasure hunt and would come back in the morning. Lame excuse, but she was 8 and she still believed in Santa, so it wasn't hard at all. Gotham was approximately 60 miles from here, so quite near if I say so. It would take me probably half an hour max if I go there leisurely. But the point is I can't fly yet, and so I will have to make sure that no one sees me, which will increase travel time. I know that it will happen between 10 and 11, so I have like 2.5 hours to reach there. But I do not know the exact movie theater nor the location of Crime Street, which would be thus named and would become famous after tonight. I have X-ray, so I would probably manage. I put my X-ray and speed to full use, to get to Gotham while making sure no one sees me. I was wearing full black today to blend in tonight. Most people would maybe notice only a blur going through. I was just following the main road from afar, reducing chances of exposure. I did not bring any mask though, as I had that rare. I am Superman, I do not wear masks disease. Strange, maybe it's genetic. Still I was confident in myself, and me being a kid would definitely help. As I was nearing Gotham, I was getting excited to see it in flesh. The city who birthed a wave of villains and which would become a nightmare for them in the future. I reached it in 45 minutes, it was 8:20 right now. I still had plenty of time. It looked fine. I expected it to have this weird dark feeling, or I imagined it to have garbage everywhere. It wasn't clean nor did it have an inviting vibe which Kansas had. I would compare it to maybe those industrial cities from my old world. When I was just admiring these old buildings, I heard a muffled scream. Looking in that direction with my X-ray, I could see that a thin guy was lying on a woman in the middle of a dark alley. With one hand he was forcing her mouth shut, and another hand in which he was holding a knife was about to tear her clothes. I went into a dark alley, jumped upon a building, and with an impressive parkour/jumping spree reached in about 20 seconds. I jumped down near that guy, silently impressing myself how even after all this there was practically no sound created. I chopped his neck as gently as possible, but still very fast, as I didn't want that woman to see me. He instantly lost consciousness, but I could still listen to his heartbeat. That was good. I had no idea what would happen when I strike someone there. I know that there is a network of nerves connecting the spine and brain, and probably one of the easiest places to cause something permanent. I wasn't trained in martial arts, but I am still Superman. Boy. Kid. Whatever, it worked, and that's all. Still going with the momentum, I went ahead in the alley and jumped up the roof of the building nearby. The woman did probably see some blur or a tiny body leaving fast. After a while I could still hear some crying, and I saw her kicking that guy's nuts and then running away. While I was still thinking of my first one-sided fight, I could hear some woman shouting to stop the thief. I saw some man running away with a purse in one hand, and a lady wearing some good-looking jewelry shouting. I found a small pebble nearby, went ahead of the thief on a roof and aimed at his legs and threw it, controlling my strength as I don't want to create a hole in it. He tripped and fell face down. Some guy nearby apprehended him and brought him to the lady. After these two incidents, it did start to feel more like Gotham. Chapter 8. Dark Knight 2. Gotham is quite a big city. I found 4 theaters running The Mark of Zorro and stopped 8 thefts and 2 rapes while doing so. It certainly is living up to its fame. No idea how people live here or how they survive. I even saw a police officer harassing a woman. I don't think I would want to come back to this city anytime soon. What even am I doing here tonight? I started checking inside every theater, scanning for Thomas Wayne. I have seen many posters of him across the city. Apparently he is going to stand for the post of mayor of Gotham City. I found them sitting in the front row of a movie theater. I saw Bruce. He looked just like any other rich 8-year-old kid. Dark hair like his father's and shorter than me in height. Now that I look at him, he looks similar to the kid actor from the Gotham TV series. His father though looked manly and fat, more like the Batsup movie actor. Martha, his mother, looked remarkable. She was just sitting there, but it felt like she had a glow surrounding her. The blonde bombshell was downright hot. And after using X-ray, I just felt so jealous of Thomas, and weirdly Bruce too. Now I see what all this Martha fuss was about. I checked the time and it was 10:30. Time just flew by even if I was quick in solving those crimes. Gotham seems in a bad situation, and it would only get worse with time. I think Gordon should have been transferred here. He is definitely needed. But the only one who could truly save this city are the Waynes. I am not gonna be here daily to stop these crimes. I want to enjoy my childhood still. And killing people, I don't know. Is it needed? Probably yes. Do I have the strength for it? Absolutely. As just a bit more force could easily kill them. In a way it's harder for me to not kill them. Will I be able to do it though? I have thought about killing people a lot of times during these years. There are some people who just need to die, so that they do not mess up my rise or hurt someone close to me. I am not going to be soft like Superman, as I know that even Phantom Zone is not foolproof. Even death is not foolproof. There are literal immortal beings walking this earth right now. Maybe only thorough disintegration can make someone truly dead. I will have to be ruthless, I know that. But can I really just end someone's life? Will I even remain Superman after that? I know I am me and he was some dumb hero, but I don't want to go full on Injustice League or even Homelander for that matter. As soon as I do it one time, I will get a taste for it, and then it will always be an option for me to erase someone's existence. My heat vision would probably help a lot in that regard. Anyway, now is not the time to even think about going on a killing spree. Waynes, what to do with them? It's so easy for me to save them tonight, probably mark them after and keep them safe all their lives. Martha Wayne could also personally thank me for that in the future. But then what? If they don't die, then there will be no Batman. This incident is the sole reason for which he trained all those years. It defines Batman. It's his origin story. Can I really survive this DC universe without his help? Can Justice League be made without him? As I was thinking these thoughts from above one of the buildings which is on the street, I saw a girl wearing all black entering from a corner. She jumped on the opposite building's folded ladders and climbed up nimbly. After a point she stopped and started taking out money from a wallet. I half expected her to be here. She looked to be 12 to 13 years old. Quite cute too. Selena Kyle, future Catwoman, who also looked exactly like the actor from Gotham TV series. She must have robbed someone earlier. I turned to see. At the corner 3 figures entered the alley. It was 10:46 and the Waynes had no idea how dark this night would be for them. Chapter 9. Dark Night, 3. Footsteps. Bruce baby, are you alright? Why did we suddenly leave the movie? Martha spoke and started inspecting if Bruce had a fever. It wasn't him, Martha. I just suddenly had a stomach ache. Thomas then pats his stomach, winking at Bruce. As they were walking in the dark alley, they saw a guy come towards them from the opposite end. He almost had all of his face covered. Seeing that, Thomas shields Martha and Bruce with his body behind him. I watched the happy family of 3 walking towards their doom. And from the opposite end, I saw Joe Chill walking towards them. I do not know if someone paid him for this job, or if he had some sort of grudge, or this all is going to be a robbery gone wrong. He has both his hands in his coat, one of them holding a revolver. I see Selena above watching this scene with interest. She could probably already guess that this would be a robbery. Wallets and jewelry, the mugger takes his revolver out and points it at Thomas. I see all of them having different reactions as the revolver is pulled. Martha tries holding her son close to her. Thomas steps ahead bravely, and Bruce is just watching the revolver, shocked and shivering. I thought that seeing a gun would scare me, even if it was a bit, but I feel nothing. I can even see the internals of the revolver. I can even hear Joe's rapidly beating heart. Maybe deep down I know and can feel that weapon could never harm me. This kind of confidence was a new thing for me. All those meditation, getting to know how much power I hold is probably subtly changing my mindset. For me it may not even be a toy, but for the Waynes that revolver was their Grim Reaper. Hurry up, the mugger threatens Thomas, waving the revolver. It's okay, take it. Thomas takes his wallet out and the mugger snatches it from him. Jewelry too, the mugger points the revolver at Martha and her pearl necklace. Thomas steps forward to shield Martha from the revolver and the mugger in a panic fires at his chest. I saw the whole sequence, still debating if I should stop it. Bruce needs to see his parents die to become the Dark Knight, so can I save them after? Even if I do create a Steins Gate, but what then? I can't keep the Waynes hidden somewhere all their life. That would not even make sense, and if by some way Bruce comes to know that I was involved, he won't forgive me ever. I can miraculously revive his parents after he becomes Batman, but then he would have no reason to continue wearing that mask. Why is this so hard? While thinking this, I see the bullet leave the barrel and dig into Thomas's chest, into his lungs. Bang. Thomas, Martha tries to hold his falling body. Bruce just watches his father fall, wide-eyed. Selena covers her mouth, shocked at what was happening. The mugger goes ahead to pull the pearl necklace from Martha, who tries to shove him away. And bang, he fires a shot in her chest. Her body falls back from the recoil. The string holding the pearls break from the mugger's hand and the pearls bounce everywhere on the cold, muddy street. I watched how the bullet entered their body, destroying anything in the way. I could feel their life force decreasing rapidly, like they are vanishing from my perception range. For a moment I felt weak. Seeing their cold body lying on the street made me feel helpless. And then I saw him raising his revolver at Bruce. I felt anger at that moment. My eyes started feeling hot. Selena was still shocked and sad at seeing the scene in front of her. She suddenly looks up at the opposite building's roof to see 2 red lights in the dark. The mugger lowers his gun and starts walking away in the dark alley. Bruce kneels down on the ground in between his dead parents, his body shuddering, still feeling scared at that gun pointed at him. I felt eyes on me. I calmed myself down and took back the heat vision and looked at Selena, who was watching me. She looks at Bruce still kneeling once and then starts going up to the roof through the ladder. I ignore her for the moment and look at the scared Bruce on the ground. I could almost feel the darkness of the night swallowing him. I see Joe running away. I know he is not mine to hurt. I just follow Selena from a distance absent-mindedly, the scene from before repeating in my head as a movie scene. After skipping 2 or 3 roofs in an impressive show of parkour, she goes down in a different alley and looks up straight at me. Chapter 10. Selena Kyle. I just jump in front of her from the roof and check her out through my X-ray again. Despite being almost 4 years older than me, she was just a bit taller, still in her growth period, cute though. Who are you? What are you? Why are you following me? She questioned, not feeling even a bit scared of my performance before, but her heart was beating very fast. I just looked her in the eyes silently. Actually, I was looking through her and at a drunk who was coming this way. Are you a human? Are you from Gotham? Where are your parents? Why did your eyes glow red? She just kept asking me questions, and my mind still hasn't completely come out of that street. Are you ignoring me? Or are you just a mute? As she questioned me again a bit loudly this time, the fat drunk noticed her from the back. Oh, what a fine lass. Come with me, sweet thing. Selena turns back and sees a fat, dirty drunk coming towards her. In a blink of an eye, I just came between Selena and the man and kept her shielded with my back. Before I could say something, that drunk, who acted like he didn't see me, started reaching out for her with his hands. I just gave him a push. He got thrown back in the air and his head smashed by a garbage container, denting it. I heard a crack and confirmed that his skull had won. He was probably more than just knocked out. I look back at Selena, who was still very close to me. She looks back at the man who weighed at least more than 200 pounds and then at me and my body, probably wondering where all that strength came from. If you had this kind of strength, why didn't you save them? Did you get scared by the gun? Selena asks, clearly more interested in me than before. I was just late. I came there hearing gunshots and they were already dead by then. I lied smoothly. So you can speak. Well, thanks for saving me just now, but I can handle myself. I am Selena, by the way. What's your name? She said, taking a step back as we were just too close. I have to go now. Take care, Selena. I smile and jump to the roof of the adjacent building. Oh, and you can call me Superman, I said, looking at her from above. She watches him vanish from that roof. What man? You are just a kid, probably still younger than me. Maybe I will call you Super Kid, she says, twirling a strand of hair with her finger and smiling. Oh, free money. She goes ahead and takes that fat guy's wallet happily. I went out of Gotham, not caring about all the crimes still ongoing and just concentrating on my heartbeat. I don't know why my mind drifted to the time when I first read the death of Batman's parents in the comic book. It made me understand where his anger came from. I just stood by and let not only him but also Gotham plunge into darkness, just because of my selfish desire of having a friend to rely on in the future. Why did I even start reading comics, by the way? Why did I become so useless in my last life? It's weird how I am almost starting to forget about my previous life. Maybe I just don't want to remember it. But I still remembered how I was ignored in my class, how I never even existed for my classmates, how each crush I had already had a boyfriend, how I spent my school having no one to talk to. But comics, anime, games were my salvation. Those characters felt closer to me than any living person. Their adventurous fun life gave color to my world, and before I knew it they became my reason to keep on living. It's funny how now I feel why I didn't do anything in my last life, as at that time I felt happy just reading about different characters and superheroes and spending my life with them. But it's different now. I have a second chance with almost the best start anybody could ask for. So I won't screw up this time. I will be famous. I will have friends and a big harem and such powerful strength so that no one can take them from me. I reached my house late at night, apologized to my parents, and went to bed. The death scene and my perfect recall not making me feel any better. I decided that I will just lie down in bed for today, as I have more work to do from now on. Chapter 11. Flight. I tried to stay in bed for the rest of the day, thinking things through, reviewing yesterday night's events, battles, and my plan and path for the future. As a Kryptonian, just by staying in the sun and growing up I will grow extremely powerful. But there are some things and people who will hinder me greatly, which I will have to take care of. I will have to make some visits soon, and for myself to have an ease of transportation, flight is necessary. How do Kryptonians achieve flight on Earth? I had some theories, but yesterday gave me the direction I needed. Yesterday, while I was jumping around or running through streets or roofs, I was incredibly silent, just because I wanted to be. This reminded me of a theory or a possible power of mine, bioelectric aura. Solar energy provides me with a unique field which surrounds me, and it can allow me to manipulate physical and electromagnetic fields. It is also known as tactile telekinesis. It's the same as the regular telekinesis but applies to only the objects I touch or are nearby enough to wrap around my bioelectric aura. So what I will have to do in theory is use this aura to change the surrounding gravitational fields and make hovering and flying possible. But feeling this aura will be the tricky part, and that's why I did all the jumping training and meditation. After I get the flight power, I need to take a trip to Detroit and San Francisco. I just hope that the timelines are not too much of a mess. There I will find people who will help me get rid of two of my weaknesses: martial arts and magic. I heard a car coming towards this direction, and I found a déjà vu scene of Lana and her mother riding a car with Lana looking worried. As I skipped school again, I guessed she might come. By spending time with Lana and getting a view of her mother raised my spirits. She made me drink the soup which she herself made this time. After a while I took her to the fields and sated her curiosity of what happened on the treasure hunt by telling her how Gotham looked and made her promise to never go to that city. My parents, even after that night's unanswered questions, still trusted me a lot. They treat me almost like I am a normal kid, as I got permission to stay at Lana's house for the weekend. Maybe it's because I have gotten so well in controlling my powers that they forget I am an alien capable of mass destruction or how valuable I would be to the government. I taught and helped Lana a lot in school, and sometimes explained some advanced topics too. She told me that her parents loved me and they kept on going about how well-behaved and smart I was. The weekend at her house was very enjoyable. We watched some cartoons together, played around in the house. At one point I involved her mother in playing hide and seek around the house too. I easily found her barely hiding behind a curtain. I removed the curtain and hugged her strongly, saying childishly I found her. My face was buried in the softness and my hands roamed down. She was shocked for multiple reasons but pushed me away gently and said that she lost and she has to go make dinner now. I unklinged myself from her, saying okay auntie, and went on to find Lana. At night I swooped into Lana's room as I already told her that we would sleep together today. She replied that it would be fun. Obviously I did not do anything. I just hugged her from the back and we chatted until late night in hushed voices. I went back early in the morning so as to not get caught. Days turned to years, and when I turned 10 finally I could feel myself slowing down my descent time while jumping. Focusing on that feeling I cleared my head and then imagined my feet being lifted up, my whole body pulled above, and then finally myself hovering above the ground. The sand around my feet started levitating. I myself felt a force pushing me upwards, and then I felt my feet leave the solid ground. I looked below and could see nothing below my feet, and the ground was like a meter away. I checked by pushing my feet down, and no, it was just air, no solid substance. I was really hovering. In my excitement I laughed aloud and my focus got disrupted, making me fall back on the ground. But I knew this was working. Next day I went to my training space in the mountains, and I kept pushing myself straight to the sky, above the clouds. It wasn't that fast, but when I looked down I could see a layer of clouds below me and could feel the sunlight on my body empowering me. I felt incredibly happy at this moment, as after all the hard work at last I could fly now. Chapter 12. Sandra Wusan, 1. It was evening time and there were a lot of people gathered inside a common-looking Chinese restaurant in Detroit. In the middle of the crowd you could see an empty space where two young Asian girls were fighting. It looked more like a dance as they performed various martial art feats, and the crowd cheered along. You could see a young boy wearing a red shirt standing in the front row observing the fight seriously. The fight ended after a while when one girl performed a high kick and another blocked it with both her palms and pushed her back in the air. The girl performed a flip with the momentum and landed gracefully. They both bowed down and thanked everyone for coming. The crowd praised both of them. Some among them came forward and put money in a jar which was kept on a side table. I watched the crowd leave and saw both the girls start putting the tables back in position as they announced that the restaurant will open in an hour. As they completed setting up the table and were ready to go towards the kitchen, I came forward. Hello, I am Clark. That was an amazing fight. I smiled brightly at them and shook both of their hands. Thank you. I am Sandra, and this is my sister Carolyn. If you want to order something, I am sorry, but it may take a while as the chef isn't here yet, Sandra said while Carolyn stared at me with a slight blush on her face. No, Sandra, I just wanted to ask if both of you could teach me martial arts, I said while giving a bow to them. Teach you? But we are just kids. Maybe I can give you directions for a proper dojo in the city, Sandra said, shocked by the request. No, I saw your fight. Even if both of you are young, your martial arts is real. We can have small sessions daily. I won't take much of your time. I don't have money, but I can help around in your restaurant. Please teach me, I said, still bowing down but looking straight at their eyes. Before Sandra could say anything, Carolyn came forward. Sure, me and my sister would teach you everything. We can practice daily together. We will have so much fun, Carolyn spoke while nodding happily at me. I looked at Sandra and she nodded with a sigh, clearly used to her sister's antics. Then we chatted about the specific days and time. They had a training area in their backyard where they would teach me. I lied to them that I lived nearby in the city and was homeschooled. I gave them my home number. If they want to call me, I got theirs too. Carolyn never stopped asking about me, clearly wanting to find out everything about me. She was shocked when she found I was just 10 as I looked at least 12, the same age as them. Sandra just kept listening, speaking only when I asked her. She warned me that the training would be tough and I can quit any time I want, and some days I would have to help out in the restaurant. She said that I would have to come for their public fights, which they did once a week, so that I can get more exposure to what I am learning. After some time they excused themselves and asked me to come tomorrow at noon so they could show me their house and training area. Carolyn still wanted to keep talking to me though. I watched them leave, scanning their bodies, habitually. They both had straight long dark hair with a healthy tan skin and a cute Chinese face. You could easily mistake them for twins. But Sandra was the older one and the main purpose for which I was here. If I wouldn't have met her today, she would go on to become Lady Shiva, the world's deadliest assassin and close combat fighter, coming on top 3 in the DC world in terms of skills. She had even bested Batman numerous times, and after the Bane incident Batman comes to her and requests to study under her to regain his fighting spirit. I had other options if I wanted just to learn martial arts, as I just need to learn the basics and I will develop the skills naturally during my fights. But most of the best fighters are not even born yet, or are hard to find, or are related to the League of Assassins, which I do not want to get involved in right now. The best fighter, the Karate Kid, who could fight on par with a Kryptonian with just his martial arts and no other superpower, will come back from the 31st century later and I can't just wait for him. There is another reason why I chose Sandra. Although young, she is a natural-born fighter and as her opponents get better so does she, making her a perfect sparring partner for me. She also has a very tragic fate, but now that I have met her, I won't let any of that happen, making sure she never becomes Lady Shiva. Chapter 13. Sandra Wusan, 2. I reach a decent distance outside the city, check around just to make sure and then fly straight up. This bioelectric aura not only keeps the air resistance to the minimum, but also helps keep my hair perfect. I can fly faster than I can run. It uses my body's physical strength to run, but for flying only telekinesis comes into play. In a way, gravity helps me in flying faster. Solar energy fuels both of them still though. Detroit is quite far away. It's like more than 1,000 miles from Kansas, which I can cover in an hour by flight, so my speed must be around Mach 1. And as I increase my proficiency at using tactile telekinesis, this speed will continue rising. During this hour I mostly use my super hearing and X-ray, so that I can make it a habit of processing information at such fast speeds. And while doing so I start reviewing what I know about Sandra from the comics. She stayed with her sister during her childhood days. Their parents died in a car crash, leaving them the restaurant and house. They spent most of their time studying martial arts and sparring with each other. They used to perform regularly, and people came to watch them from far away. One of the regular audience was David Kane. He was the top assassin, killer and fighter from the League of Assassins. He would go on to teach many people including Batman. He was very meticulous and had prepared contingencies for everything. And so he wanted a partner as well as a successor of his, but couldn't find any and felt that only his blood could succeed him. And thus started his search for a female warrior who would birth him a worthy child. Which brought him to Sandra. He could see that she was better than her sister and Carolyn was just hindering her growth. He murdered Carolyn when Sandra wasn't around. Sandra came back, furious at what she saw, and went out to search for the suspicious man lurking around their shows. There was a trap waiting for her as David had the League ready already. During the fight David kept manipulating and convincing her that he did the right thing, and now she could unleash her true potential. At the verge of death, he convinced her and gave her a chance to live. In return she has to come with him and be the mother of his child. She agreed and he took her to the League of Shadows to be trained. She and her sister had a unique inborn skill where they could predict the opponent's attacks by the slightest twitch of the muscle, making them deadly at hand-to-hand combat. She trained herself there, while enduring the abuse of David. Once when during her pregnancy David was beating her, she snapped and attacked back, defeating him easily despite the bloated stomach. She birthed a girl and left that place and the child in search of her own path. After this point she changed numerous roles from mercenary to villain to assassin to vigilante, and the name of Lady Shiva became famous throughout the world. Her child named Cassandra Cain was trained by David, who never taught her any words and banned her speech so she could concentrate on improving her innate skill which she got from her mother. After her first kill, Cassandra realizes that this is wrong and escapes from David. She goes on to become Batgirl and one of the strongest and deadliest fighters. Eventually Lady Shiva tracks down Cassandra and starts teaching her everything she knows and starts having deadly battles with her. At the last decided fight, Lady Shiva tells her that she is her mother. Cassandra, in rage over her mother leaving her, decapitates her head and kills her. Eventually Lady Shiva is revived and she gets even more deadly over time. But this all things will never happen as Sandra and Carolyn will be under my protection from now on. I still have more than 2 years to prepare, as there is the League of Assassins behind David. While I was passing by Metropolis, I heard some interesting news. Apparently the famous magician John Zatara is going to have a show in the city next week. Now I won't have to go to San Francisco at least. I reached home, helped Dad finish his work and returned back with him. I had already told them that I want to learn martial arts as it would help me control my growing power. When I told them that 2 very talented Asian girls were going to be my teacher, Mom asked to bring them home for dinner someday. That would be difficult considering how far Detroit is, but I still promised her. As we were watching TV, an ad comes of a cat wearing a woolen hat. As I saw the cat, I remembered that during my last visit to her house, she asked me if I wanted to meet a friend of hers. Chapter 14. Training, 3. As soon as school was over, I said goodbye to Lana and rushed to a secluded space so that I could fly away. I had to meet the sisters today, to start my training. I was excited to see those cute small T*** again, and to learn martial arts of course. I still can't get over how wonderful flying is. Sometimes I keep going above and below the cloud layer just for fun. Clouds look so tangible from below, but from nearby they look like a dense fog. Nature can be so marvelous sometimes. I haven't gone above more than 30 miles, above the stratosphere, as there won't be oxygen to breathe. Not that I needed to breathe, I can survive by sunlight just fine. But it would take some time for my body to adapt, and I am just delaying it. No doubt that the view from space would be awesome. While flying, if I keep both my hands forward, weirdly I start speeding up. Maybe that's why the original had that pose while flying. I reached the restaurant, which still had a couple of customers enjoying their lunch. The sisters saw me and asked if I wanted to eat something. I refused and then followed them to an old house nearby. They did not have much furniture, but in the backyard there were a lot of training dummies as well as weapons, both wooden and real. I was wondering if keeping this stuff was even legal. They told me that their parents were from a long line of masters of martial arts in China, and they brought all this with them when they arrived here. They made me wear a white long-sleeved shirt and long black pants, kind of what the hero in Kung Fu Hustle wears in the end fight. Apparently, it belonged to their father. They wanted me to stand until evening in the classic horse stance for a few days first, which would just waste my time as I was at my peak physical condition. It was a pain to convince them both that I would not need endurance training. I thought so many times during the argument to just show them how strong, fast, or durable I am. But I didn't, as they do not trust me fully yet, and neither do I. At last we agreed that if during my training my endurance is lacking or if my body is not flexible enough, I will have to agree to their plan. They started showing me different stances and told me to memorize them, which I did and even performed them almost perfectly. Seeing how easy it was for me, they went on to spar while showing me how to best use your body, which stance works where, how and when to defend and attack. Seeing them fighting with their small bodies with their long black hair fluttering around, I was entranced. I see why their fights are so popular. It looks beautiful, almost as an art. They ended the lecture, but I requested a spar with Carolyn. I wanted to apply whatever I learnt today, making it a muscle memory. Carolyn agreed easily, telling me not to worry as she would go easy on me. Our spar started, and even if I was awkward in my stances, I could defend myself from her attacks easily. I did not attack her as I was not confident of restraining my power totally during a fight. Seeing how easy to defend it was for me, she accelerated and my stances improved rapidly as I could react almost instantly to her attacks. But I could not read her at all. I had no idea how she would attack me. I was told to always keep eye contact with my opponent and try to outsmart them. I could do more than just see their eye motion. I could see their every muscle move, could hear their breathing and even their heartbeat. But this information did not account for a thing, as I have almost no fighting experience. After some time, Carolyn stopped praising me and said that I was a natural. Sandra, however, told me that I have an impressive reaction speed, but almost no fighting sense. She taught me my mistakes, how instead of blocking I should be diverting the force of the attack. Seeing how I still wasn't even out of breath, they agreed that maybe practical sparring sessions would help me learn faster. I asked for Sandra to spar with me too. Clearly interested, she agreed. Already having seen my fight, She went full throttle from the start. It felt way different fighting her. She had this ferocity in her. I could see that every attack was getting increasingly stronger and more deadly. Her eyes had this spark, which was observing every action my body does very closely. Many times when I moved to block her attack, she would change directions, or it would have been a feint to fool me. I enjoyed this feeling, a feeling of figuring her out, almost like a mental battle, and I could clearly see her enjoying it as well. Chapter 15. Treasure Hunt. 1. Now that my martial art training is underway, I will have to prepare some things if I want to learn magic. The magic system of DC Multiverse is very complicated. Keeping aside its origin, the way to practice it is more tribal or voodoo. You need a magical source in the form of artifacts, packs with higher beings or talent to use the surrounding mystical energy. The higher the mystical energy, the easier it is to cast magic. The packs with higher beings always end badly, as the best case scenario is that they keep it as an equivalent exchange. For the amount of magic, given equivalent price must be paid, whatever it is. Worst case, you are tricked by the contract you signed and are forced to become that being's slave for eternity. Artifacts mostly make you corrupt or mind control you. In extreme cases, there are living souls trapped within it, who will take over your body with your soul in their hands. You are born with talent, but you can also acquire it through technology, or by inserting blood of a magically potent being. Each method has its own cost. There are easier ways to acquire magic, like gaining the power of 6 gods, and becoming Shazam, but it needs specific requirements, including race and morality. Even if I do acquire a source, I will have to find someone who can teach me, and thus choose the magical path I would take. Most of the magicians on Earth won't teach you if they find out that you are an alien, and the rest use black or chaos magic, which I don't want to dab into. Some of the most famous users of magic in the comics, like Constantine, are still kids. What I want to learn is order magic, which is still considered very dangerous to the soul if used wrong. Specifically legomancy, or backward magic. It literally means to speak words backwards. It's the simplest and the most versatile magic, but if it is miscast, then it can threaten the objective reality. And the best user of legomancy is the famous magician John Zatara, real name Giovanni Zatara, who is also a real mystic art user. There is another reason why I chose him. His daughter, who would be around my age, is Zatana Zatara. She will go on to become one of the most powerful magicians in the DC-verse and a member of my Justice League. But I know that John would not accept to teach me readily, and so I have to go on a treasure hunt. You can say that my body is weak to magic, but almost all non-magic users in DC are weak to the unnatural force that is magic. So I would be needing things which could effectively negate magic. There are many of such things scattered on this planet Earth at this timeline, but few of them I can use without any training and fewer without any price. Instead of going back home from Detroit, I flew to Gotham City. I went straight to the top floor of an old building, dropped down on the balcony, and knocked on the glass door. "So Superboy, did you miss me? Or you came to lecture me again?" Selena, still wearing the same black jacket and tight leather pants, opened the glass door. "For how long are you gonna live in someone else's abandoned house, Selena? Look, I know you are smart, and I know you don't want to spend the rest of your life as a thief. Why don't you just let me help you?" Now 14, her body has started getting quite in shape, and those leather clothes. Why am I still 10? Okay, shut up and just come inside. She massages her temple and proceeds to drag me inside the apartment. I close the door behind. Over the course of 2 years, we have grown quite close. She told me all about how her childhood went. Her brutalized mother committed suicide, and her violent father drank himself to death soon after. She and her younger sister Maggie were separated in the juvenile center, which was an abusive state home for delinquent girls. She escaped that place and was caught pickpocketing outside a carnival in Gotham. She learned all her skills in her time at the carnival, and when its owner died in an accident, she decided to live independently in Gotham. I found Maggie, her sister, who was adopted into a family in Gotham. After confirming with her own eyes that her sister was living happily among her new parents, she chose not to meet her. That night she cried in my arms and kissed me deeply, asking me to never to leave her alone, after I promised she would fall asleep exhausted. She bounced on the sofa among her 2 to 3 cats stretching lazily. "So did you come by just to nag me? Or maybe you want to meet my friend we talked about?" She asked me, strangely excited about the meeting. I looked around to see the increasing number of cats which surely she brings from all over Gotham. "Nope, I wanted to go and steal something tonight. As it's nearby, I thought to invite you. So you in?" Chapter 16. Treasure Hunt. 2. On the roof of Gotham Museum of Antiquities. "A museum? We are gonna rob from an old museum?" Selena says, still clinging to me as I brought her down. "It's not about money. I need an item for a specific use. Now go and see if you can pick that lock." I patted Selena's ass and got a feel. She punched me playfully, giving me a look, and went towards the roof gate. Are all 10-year-old aliens as horny as you, or are you a special case? She asked while opening up the lock with what looked like a hairpin. I had told her that I am an alien, and after mastering flight I had taken her to the sky more than once. She even knew my real name and that I lived on a farm in Kansas with my parents. I had invited her multiple times to my home to meet them, even told her that she could live with me, and my parents would love to have her, but she kept dodging the subject. I could have done today's robbery on my own. It wouldn't have been as clean, but I would have managed. But I like spending time with her, maybe because she was the first girl who knew about my secret and my first kiss too. I just went ahead through the door of the museum's roof and went down, telling Selena to follow me quietly. It's still 2002, so there are no security cameras inside the museum, and this Gotham museum hasn't been robbed yet, so the security is quite lax. I could easily make out where the night guards were and avoided them with Selena in tow. She suddenly stopped in front of a knife which had what looked like a gold handle with a sphinx face on its bolster. "Is this real gold?" she asks in a hushed voice. I hug her from the back and speak in her ear while looking at the knife. "That is called the time knife. Forget about gold, it can basically open portals to another time." "You are kidding me, this ugly thing?" "Why not steal it then?" she said, still not believing me entirely and not minding my abrupt hug at all. "Because it's unstable and can create those portals without any wielder too. Come on, what I want to find is not far from here," I said, dragging her away from the knife. The museum was very big and we had to take some detours to avoid the night patrol, but we reached our target smoothly. We stood in front of a glass cabinet. Inside there was a big bronze glove, with a red orb on the back of it. The orb had an Egyptian eye drawn in black. There was a green wing-like design on the wrist part of the glove. Seeing this glove, I had flashbacks of Thanos snapping his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet on. "Can you please pick this lock too?" I looked at Selena with the best puppy dog eye I could manage. She proudly stepped forward and picked the glass lock in a minute. I took the glove in my hands and checked to see if it wasn't fake and kept it in the bag which I had brought. I hugged her and went back to the roof fast while hovering. And then I brought her back to her house. She kept asking me what it was that we stole. I just said an Egyptian artifact and promised that I would tell everything next week. After telling her not to go out at late nights in Gotham, we hugged saying our goodbyes, as it was getting late and Mom would start worrying. As I was hurrying back, I couldn't believe how easy tonight was. They would surely increase the security after tonight's robbery. What I stole is called the Claw of Horus, which was created during the 19th dynasty of ancient Egypt. It was created from the nth metal or the 9th metal recovered from a downed Thanagarian ship. The claw was created by Nabu the Wise, a cosmic being of limitless power. Right now his spirit resides in the Helmet of Fate, and he is the source of Dr. Fate's great power. This claw has many powers, including the ability to disrupt other forms of nth metal items, shoot energy blasts powerful enough to destroy a street in a single blast. It can draw power from Earth's magnetic core, and you can hit someone with the force of a planet, which ironically was used on the original Superman in comics. Yikes, that punch must have hurt a lot. Well, at least now it's with me, so I won't be punched by it. But the main reason I stole this claw is because it can guide you to other Hawkman-related artifacts. I will have to wake up early tomorrow as I have to go to Far Egypt for some grave digging. I mean another treasure hunt. Creator's Thoughts. Chapter 17. Treasure Hunt. 3. Egypt from my home, according to a map in the library, was approximately 6.8 miles. With my Mach 1 plus speed of flying, it would take me almost 8 hours. First time I felt that I was still quite slow, because it would take me more than 16 hours to commute to and back. And with no kind of cell phone or internet, I will have to rely on just my sight and hearing to find Egypt. Weirdly, I missed Google sometimes. Well, I have seen the world atlas thoroughly, so I remember every place, and so I will just follow a mental map. I lied to my parents again that I will be going to play at Lana's house very early, and will come back after dinner late at night. Lana was convinced to back up my lie ahead of time on the phone. In return, I have to go with her to the newly opened mall. I wore a black mask today, with black long-sleeve shirt and pants, which I will change with some local wear from Egypt. And I applied mud everywhere on my exposed body, as a precaution to not be seen as a white-skinned foreigner at least. I wore the gauntlet. It looked ridiculously big on my small hands, but when I made a fist with it, I felt a connection being formed. I can't see any regular human able to equip it, as the amount of strength needed for simply making a fist was not what a normal human could have. It was already wrapped in my aura, and so I could feel a form of energy attracted to it. That must be the energy which it absorbs from Earth's core. I took a cloth bag and hid my hand with the glove in it. Simple disguise, but it should work for now. I went out at 6 in the morning. I took to the east, high in the air until I could see the sea, and then kept near the sea level as I am not yet fast enough to avoid radar. As I kept flying, I observed the Atlantic Ocean under me, and all the various life forms in the sea. It was colorful, vibrant, and full of life. I knew quite a few of those species from books in the library. It came to my mind that this ocean was also a home to the fallen city of Atlantis and the new Atlantis. But I was on a schedule today. Having nothing to do, I concentrated on the surrounding gravitational fields. Through my bioelectric aura, I could feel it pushing me forward from all around my body. I tried to attract it more, to summon more of those forces. I kept trying until I could feel myself speeding up. Seeing that it worked, I kept at it. Maybe it won't take me 8 hours after all. I could see land which should be African soil. I could tell by the population. I took to the sky and hurried along following my mental map. I acquired a long gray-colored ankle-length robe from a nearby village house and some linen cloth bags along the way. As I was nearing what should most probably be Egypt, the glove started vibrating slightly. I stopped mid-air and felt which direction the vibrations was the strongest and went that way. I stopped in the middle of the desert. I could see that the nearest city was still very far away, and there were no living people in sight nearby. That relieved me, as the glove had quite strong vibrations from underneath me. I could see that there was what looked like a structure underneath all the sand. I took a long breath, closed my eyes, strengthened the aura barrier and went straight down full speed at what looked like an entrance made of large doors hidden underneath. I opened the door easily and closed behind me fast so that the inside is not filled with sand. The place was not that big. There was a long corridor and a room at the end. There were drawings on the walls of what looked like 2 winged people, a male and a female fighting with a huge serpentine creature. The drawings ended with them slaying it and the people worshipping them. I hovered above as I could see there were pressure traps all over the corridor. I could see some sort of arrow mechanism and a giant death pit in the middle. Not that they could hurt me, but I don't want to accidentally collapse this place. In the room at the end, there was a drawing of a beautiful woman with a hawk headgear and wings with a mace in her hand, looking proud, and a male with similar attire bending down in the side looking at her in worship. Looking at the things in the room, even if I have known beforehand, it still made my eyes shine. Chapter 18. Treasure Hunt. 4. The room was quite big. There were 5 things on what looked like a long block of gray platform underneath the drawing of the woman. A silver-colored chest harness with a red orb in the middle with a hawk head drawn on it. A hawk headgear in gold and black, same as the one in drawings which covered almost half the face. A gray-colored mace with a round top and spikes on it. A black belt with a silver buckle. And what looked like a female uniform with boots and bracers. In the right side of the room there was another platform, with almost the same items, but it was gold-colored instead of silver with a man's uniform with an all-gold headgear. Thanagar, or Hawkworld, was inhabited by people who worshipped Hawk as their deity, and it has influenced their culture throughout the years. That planet was also known for its mineral deposits of nth metal or 9th metal. Nth metal could negate gravity, allowing a person to fly. It can also speed up your natural healing, increase your strength. It can protect you from the surrounding environment by regulating your body temperature. It possesses innate anti-magical properties. It can disrupt ghosts and spirits when in contact with their spectral forms. And in rare cases, due to constant exposure, can force you into a cycle of reincarnation after death. The last thing is what happened to the 2 Thanagarians, Shayera Thal and Kader Hole, forcing them to reincarnate constantly. They go on to become Hawkgirl/Woman and Hawkman respectively. The Thanagarians were a warrior race, aggressive and strong. They were also very technologically advanced and made various weapons and equipment from nth metal. But ultimately they were destroyed by a plague which was set upon them by a creature who could morph into any shape and thus harder to identify. The only one saved was Princess Shayera and her protector Kader, who were away on a diplomatic visit. They returned and pursued after the creature in rage, who fled to Earth. In an epic battle they managed to slay the creature who had taken the form of a horned serpent, a powerful creature from their homeworld, who was almost impossible to beat. But they were hurt and poisoned after the fight. The Egyptian people of that time saw the battle and treated them as gods. But they died soon after. They died, but the nth metal forced them on a cycle of reincarnation on Earth. Now Kader gets reincarnated as Carter Hall in the 21st century, but only this time he is an archaeologist, and during one of visits to a museum of ancient Egypt finds a glove. Attracted by it, he wears it. The nth metal within makes him remember his original life. He takes the glove with him and goes on to Egypt to find his possessions. He comes to know that their ship has been dismantled, and this Claw of Horus is made from all the remaining nth metal. He finds this place and gets his weapons and armor. During his past life he has been obsessed with the princess and goes on to find her, who is living a normal life as Kendra Saunders. He approaches her and Kendra gets visions of her past life when she comes in contact with the nth metal of being a princess and Kader. But Catter tells her that they were husband and wife in their past life, and they are soulmates, and they are linked together by destiny to reincarnate until they find each other again. Kendra does not believe him but eventually gives in to his aggressive approaches during their training to regain their past strength. They marry and take the mantle of Hawkgirl and Hawkman. They both join the JL, but Hawkman, with his aggressive and stupid personality, is banished from it soon after. Hawkgirl stays and goes on to change her name to Hawkwoman. But now I have the Claw of Horus and all their weapons. After removing the massive that is Carter, I will approach Kendra and give her back her possessions. I wear the chest harness from Hawkman's attire and push the red orb. Golden metal wings emerge magically from my back. I go on to wear the belt too, and I can feel that I can levitate and fly with almost no resistance even without using my telekinesis. But the most useful part for me is that both of the things along with the mace have the highest magical nullifying abilities, making me immune to magical attacks. I pack everything in the linen bags I brought. As an added bonus, I take all the various golden artifacts lying around, which alone fills up 2 bags to the brim. It's still 1 in the afternoon right now. I think as my control increased, my speed got as high as Mach 2 in the end. I was planning on getting out of Egypt as early as possible as it's a very dangerous place, with many people trapped here in seals including Black Adam, and there's a very angry god who roams around Egypt punishing any grave robbers who I definitely don't want to meet. But maybe I can take a detour and complete my next treasure hunt early. Chapter 19. Treasure Hunt 5. There are many places on Earth in DC which are naturally formed nexus of magical power. It is basically an accumulation of all the magic on Earth in physical form. One such place is Rock of Eternity, which is the lair of the wizard Shazam. All his powers originate from that place. Its entrance can be found in Fawcett City, where Billy Batson will go on to live in the future. Another such place is the Himalayan range found in India. It's a massive mountain range where many small towns and villages can be found scattered. It was almost 3,000 miles from Egypt, but with my increased speed it took only 2 hours. I had surrounded the bags in my aura so as to not affect them while flying. I was a bit worried about visiting this place and was planning to do so next weekend before I go to Metropolis for the show. But I am faster now, so why not? I was worried because Nanda Parbat is also hidden in these mountains, with not only Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins, but it is also said to be watched and protected by a goddess-like figure, Ramakrishna. But I knew my search was near the highest mountain peaks, and the ranges are so wide that even the League cannot properly monitor it. Reaching near the Himalayas, I see how bad the weather is, but I had the belt on and my own aura to protect me. After getting near the tallest mountain, and scanning it with my vision, I could see a small circular sphere way underground, which was just black. It felt like a lead-encased ball, as I know it to be the only thing I can't see through. I dived down full speed while strengthening my aura with bags in my hand through the hard, cold, icy ground. As I was standing in front of the ball, I was shocked. As I can see, it is just a black ball, not lead. But this kind of black feels more like it is absorbing everything around it. My X-ray can see through almost all magical illusions and barriers, but either my vision has not advanced that much yet, or this barrier was formed because of a very high or dense magic. It was just floating in what looked like an underground cavern. I took the mace out from the bag and smashed it into the ball. It sounded like something cracked, and an amulet fell through the disappearing black ball. I snatched it before it fell and observed it. It was a golden amulet with a purple gem embedded in it, which was shining even in this darkness. Morgane Le Fay is an ancient and diabolical sorceress who masters in absorbing youth and energy from her victims, and also could provide immortality to others. She had lived for years and had many children, but when she tried to capture the kingdom of Camelot, which was ruled by King Arthur, for his son who would stay eternally a kid by her magic, she came to face Merlin. Merlin, a very strong European wizard, casts a powerful spell by which he merges the soul of Etrigan, his demon familiar with Jason Blood, who was an inside ally of Morgane. This was done as demons cannot come to this plane from the Hell plane normally. Merlin then forces Etrigan, who is now merged with Blood, to fight her. Seeing how resistant to magic attack Etrigan is, Morgane flees, destroying Camelot in the process. Morgane right now is still hiding from Etrigan with her son. She is searching the whole earth for magical artifacts that can enhance her magic so she can reverse the spell which forced Etrigan and Jason Blood's soul to fuse. In the future, she will find 2 such powerful artifacts that have almost no cost for using it, which is quite rare in the DC world. First is the Philosopher's Stone, which is hanging in the bedroom of an archaeologist in Gotham right now. Second is this Amulet of First Magic, which according to Morgane is one of the natural sources of all earth magic. It possesses incredibly powerful magic, which can do almost anything his master is willing to do. But the power contained within is not infinite. Now that I have this amulet and the stone in the future, Morgane will stop at nothing to get these things from me. Well, she won't come to me anytime soon. And when she comes, I will be ready. This amulet will be my magical power source, or mana pool if you will. I wear the amulet on my neck and hide the purple glow by keeping it underneath my clothes. I still feel nothing. I thought maybe I would be able to sense magic after wearing it. Guess I really need a teacher. I look around to see if anything changed with the amulet taken, but nothing notable happened. Which makes sense, as only a very powerful magician like Morgaine was able to pinpoint its location after who knows how much time. I should go back now from here fast. I do not want to alert anybody of my presence here. I look at the bags while flying, thinking how productive today has been. Then suddenly I realize that I will have to find a place to hide all these things in the house. Chapter 20. Giovanni Zatara, 1. Zatana _POV. Today Dad has a show in Metropolis. Metropolis is a very big city. I haven't seen it yet. Dad said that after the show he will take me out, and if we have time we may even be able to visit the amusement park. He had performed those tricks in front of me so many times already. That's why I decided not to see the show from backstage and come to my room to practice my magic. Real magic, no tricks, no sleight of hand, pure real magic. I was surprised when, after I learned everything about performance magic, prestidigitation as he called it, he told me that now the real magic training can start. That was last week. Even though I am way smarter than all kids my age, speaking backward is hard. But I will keep practicing until backward becomes my native language. I heard a knock on the door and opened it to find a boy wearing a red t-shirt and black jeans smiling at me. The magic show is going on downstairs in the hall. I tell him, weirdly wanting to get close to him, like something was attracting me, like he has this calming aura coming from him. So what are you doing here alone, little lady? Hi, I am Clark. I am here to ask your dad to teach me real magic. As I touch his hands for a handshake, I feel strange. My face goes red as a tomato. I feel so good through his hand and his warmth coursing through my body. No, this is not warmth. It feels the same energy which I use for my magic, but so much more, like it's endless. He suddenly took his hand back and kept looking at my face. He must feel I am a weird girl now. No, he is the weird one. Why does he have so much magic, and why is it just flowing out of his body? He said real magic now, so he must also be like me and Dad, a real magician. Come inside for now. Dad will come back here when the show is over. I, still embarrassed about before, invited him into the room. He comes in and looks around the room. I get more embarrassed as before every show Dad leaves the room in a mess, which I have to clean up after. So you said your name was Clark? I am Zatana, I reply to him shyly, still trying to control and absorb the magic I got before. I am never shy around anyone, not even boys. I am a magician. I will have to perform in front of lots of people, so I don't know what is happening to me today. Maybe this is what they call love at first sight. He does look handsome, and he is tall too. Or maybe it's because of his magic which I tasted before. Hello, beautiful Zatana. Were you practicing your magic right now? If you want, I can perform some magic for you. When I heard him call me beautiful, my heart started beating so fast. I felt butterflies in my stomach. Even my magic is almost about to lose control. I have to calm myself down. Even if I feel very happy, I shouldn't show it to him. Sure, let's see what you know. Let me tell you first that I have seen many magical tricks, so if you want to impress me, you will have to show me something really magical. I don't know why, but I wanted him to impress me and show his best magic. I was sure that he would not show me a trick but real magic, and he would perform it just for me. Okay, as you wish, my lady. Can I have a glass of water first? He did the bow and everything. He must be a real gentleman. I filled up a glass with water and presented it to him. Just keep holding it your hand and focus on the water. I did as he said, and suddenly I could see the water bubbling. The water was evaporating and converted to vapor above the glass in front of me. I checked underneath the glass and touched it around just to see if there was some trick in the glass, but it was just simple glassware, which I chose. But how? He hasn't even touched it, nor has spoken any spells, and I can't see any wand in his hands. Before I knew it, all the water evaporated from the glass. I am sorry, miss, but this glass looks empty. He took the empty glass from my hands, accusing me of it. I giggled. He is truly a natural performer. That was really magic. How did you do it? Can you teach me? Can you show me some more magic, please? I asked him, wanting to know how much better he is than me. He kept the glass on his right palm, and the glass started floating up from his hands. Oh, making objects float. I too was practicing the same magic, but it's so hard to perform it in succession, and I have to pronounce the chant perfectly too each time. But it's okay, I will perfect this magic, and I will even fly one day. It's one of my dreams, you know. Creator's Thoughts. Chapter 21. Giovanni Zatara, 2. Soups _POV. A week has passed by in a flash. In between I went to the Atlantic Ocean again to try my new glove out. When I wear it, it automatically starts absorbing the energy from Earth's magnetic core and stores it. From up in the sky, I fired a white-colored energy blast on the ocean surface and it produced a very big splash. Its attack type, to the area of attack, to the output of attack, it's like it responds to my thought for everything. Truly a top magical item. The various energy attacks made me feel like I am Iron Man. If it wasn't this showy and weird looking, I would like to always wear it. I kept up with my martial art training, helped out in the sisters' restaurant too. Went with Lana to the new mall, which she herself decided was a date. I got to know she loved strawberry-flavored ice cream, as she ate one and made me buy it 3 more times. She did catch a cold the next day. On Sunday morning I told Mom and Dad I am going out to play with my friends in town. I want to grow up fast so that I can stop lying to them. But this time it's really dangerous. Every preparation was for today. John or Giovanni is a real top magician, and he really dislikes it if anyone knows about his real magical side. When Bruce as a child goes to learn the art of escape from him and accidentally finds out a magical artifact while playing with Zatana, John gets furious and wipes out Bruce's memory of Zatana or the magic artifact. So there is no way that John will teach me his family magic willingly, and when I meet him he will definitely try to use magic on me. But I am prepared. I slipped into an open window on the top floor of the auditorium. The show has already started, but my target is not John, it's his daughter who has just entered a room on this floor. I was wearing a red t-shirt, underneath which I wore my amulet, my nth metal belt, and my chest harness. No magic could possibly affect me now. I knocked on the door. I could see that she had a wand in her hand and what looked like a big magician hat in front of her. She dropped her wand and opened the door. She had black long straight hair which looked like they were almost shining. She wore a white shirt with black overcoat with a red ribbon on and a black skirt, looking like a stage artist. She told me that the magic show was downstairs. I went on to introduce myself and told her what I am here for and offered her a handshake. The moment she saw me I could see a strange twinkle in her eyes. Her body was almost leaning to me like she wanted to get closer to me. But when I shake her hand, I could feel an energy getting drained from my body. At that moment I thought about a lot of things. I used X-ray to see what was happening but could see nothing. And when I searched for the source, I felt that the amulet was a bit hot and that a kind of energy was going from my body to hers, which was getting replenished by the amulet. I could even feel that energy was already surrounding me like the bioelectric aura. Weirdly they both coexisted, none affecting the other. I could see that her cheeks were getting red and her heart was beating rapidly. If I didn't know better I would even say that she was orgasming, but she was just 10. Still I checked down there, and no she wasn't. I removed my hand and could see she wanted more contact, but I had already arrived at an answer. She did absorb some magic from my amulet, but it was negligible and at least it helped me feel magic for the first time. I couldn't feel that energy as soon as I took my hand back. She swiped a strand of her hair behind her ear looking red as a tomato and told me to come inside first. She looked so cute right now that I couldn't stop staring at her. The room was a bit messy, but I knew that already. She introduced herself in an effort to hide her shyness. I wanted to tease her more as she really looked beautiful right now and addressed her so, while asking if she was practicing magic right now and if she would let me perform some for her. She really liked it when I called her beautiful as I could hear and see her heartbeat accelerate. During my training of heat vision, I realized that I could use it invisibly. It was in a very low intensity and can be used only to boil some liquid. And during my training of tactile telekinesis, I could make a small object float if it's near my body. I use both of these, showing it as a form of real magic to impress her. After which suddenly she goes on to tell me how she can do it too and how flying was always her dream. Chapter 22. Giovanni Zatara, 3. I put the glass down on a table and moved closer to Zatana, who was still daydreaming about when she would be able to fly. Before she realizes how close I am, I wrap my arm around her thin waist and paste her body to mine. I can see the same process repeating again. Her body gets hot, her cheeks go red, she is taking long hard breaths, both of her palms are on my chest and she is looking me in the eye like she is drunk. I again feel the magic stirred awake by her touch, only this time a very minute amount of magic is flowing to her. I guess she reached her limit. Look around, I say gently to her. I can see her looking around still in a daze. We are floating? She says, regaining some of her senses. We come back to the ground and I let her go, taking a step away from her. She almost takes a step towards me before stopping and covering her face with both of her hands. She must be very embarrassed or happy as I just fulfilled her dream. She still held her head down covered with her hands. I meant my dream is to fly by my own magic power. My dad can also fly, he took me above the clouds once. She says in a whisper, her face still covered behind her hands. That does make sense, but at least I got to see her embarrassed again and that there is a limit to how much magic she can absorb or contain. Zatana POV. What was that just now? My magic almost started going berserk like it was gonna leave out of my body. But he smelled so sweet, his chest and his heartbeat felt so powerful. We were so close together and it felt so nice hugging him. Dad's hugs never felt this nice. Oh, I am so embarrassed. It's all because he did this so suddenly out of nowhere. But it is cute to see him try to fulfill my dream for me. Well, first I have to make my magic calm down. I don't want to show him my red face again, or else he will start calling me tomato. I haven't even absorbed the magic I got from him last time. I will need to meditate and absorb it slowly and make it mine. This much magic will surely double my reserve. Maybe after that I can perform the levitation spell and fly like him. Soups_POV. After some time she calmed down and made me sit and started talking about her daily life. How much she has to study or how strict her dad was while teaching her magic. I think she wanted me to forget about what happened, and that's why she kept on telling me things. I just listened to her silently and answered some of her questions while keeping an eye on the show. She said that she would have performed some magic for me, but she is not feeling good today and that she will try and convince her dad so that we could learn magic together. While waiting we played cards and she sat very near to me and kept touching me when she got a chance, which I didn't mind at all. After some time the door opened and John came in surprised that there was an unknown boy playing cards with his daughter. Zatana rushed towards John and hugged his hand. Dad, this is my friend Clark, he wants to learn magic from you. He is also a magician like us, Dad. He is the same age as me but he is already so good at magic, even better than me, he can even fly, Dad. Please accept him, Dad, please. John listened patiently to his daughter, and then rubbed her head. Okay, first let me have a chat with your friend. Meanwhile can you go downstairs and see if all the props are being packed properly? John said to Zatana with a gentle smile while nodding at me. Okay, but do not bully him, he is my friend. Zatana said, waving me goodbye and wishing me luck before rushing out of the door. After the door closed, John observed me for a second. John had black hair, a thin mustache and was quite tall. He was wearing a similar magician attire as her daughter and a magician's hat which was now in his hand. Mr. Giovanni Zatara, I want to learn magic from you, I said while giving him a bow. So you want to learn how to perform on a stage like me? He said while putting a hand inside his hat. No, I want to learn your family's logomancy. As I spoke this I saw him take a black wand out of his hat and pointing it towards me. Egnak Saytolk Otni Snidnib. Chapter 23. Giovanni Zatara, 4. Soups_POV. I looked at him and he looked at me, waiting for the spell to activate but nothing happened. I took a step forward. Surprised that the spell is not working, he waved his wand again. Esselarap my. I zapped in front of him, struck the pressure points on both of his wrists lightly to make him drop the wand and the hat. I guess Sandra was right, the training to unarm someone did come in handy. I wrapped them around my aura and made them float beside me. There was no way I was gonna touch them, they could be enchanted. Realizing that he lost both the items, I saw him take another wand out from his pocket. I did the same thing again before he could speak a spell. And now I had 3 items floating around me. Before you do something else, would you listen to me first? I said gently, trying to calm him down. He paused his hands mid-motion, looking at me for a second. So what are you, a demon, a sorcerer? And what do you want from me? John said, rubbing his sore wrists, still not convinced that this would end peacefully. I told you the truth already. I want to learn magic from you. And I am what you humans call an alien, I tell him while observing his heartbeat. An alien, you say? Even if I believe you, why would I teach you anything? He replied, looking almost relieved hearing me say alien. I came to this planet in a spaceship as my homeworld got destroyed. I lived my life until now in Kansas, where a sweet couple adopted and accepted me in this world. I have several unique abilities, precognition being one of them. Precognition? Kid, you are telling me you can see the future? I can't see the future, but I have visions about people who are or will be very close to me in the future. Don't believe me? I saw a vision when I was just a kid, of a small child trapped in darkness. After some months I saw another vision of you taking that child out, only now she is almost 4-year-old. I can see the shock clearly on his face, and his heartbeat getting faster. He knows that when Zatana was just 1-year-old, Morgane Le Fay cast a mysterious spell to trap her in an unknown place. And it would take almost 3 more years for him to break that spell and reunite with his daughter. I have seen many visions of the future throughout the years, like Allura, the extra-dimensional entity, coming to Earth for your daughter. You saved her by trapping Allura but are cursed and have to leave Zatana alone. After you went away, she suffered many hardships, almost getting killed by Morgane, and that's when we met. I have several items from my planet which nullify any magic attack on me, so I was able to save her. We fell in love and got married, but in search of you, we were attacked by the great evil beast and she sacrificed herself to save me. I look at Zatara, who is greatly shocked, horrified, and still a bit skeptical. Okay, so let's just make him completely believe me. You do know why they are all after her, don't you? You must already have an answer. Zatana isn't a normal human. It must be her mother, am I right? Even if she is not a human, she is still my daughter and I will protect her forever. Zatara heaves a long sigh and tells me with great vigor. Yes, but what will happen to her when you are not here? Can you defeat Allura with certainty? Teach me magic, John. If you are not here, I can protect her. I don't want her to die or be captured by anyone. I go ahead a step and clamp his shoulders. He looks me in the eye for a whole minute, thinking if he could trust me. How can you prove it to me that you are an alien? At least he is not questioning about the precognition part. I look at the wall in front of us and activate my heat vision, making an S on the wall. So precognition, super speed, telekinesis and lasers shooting from your eyes, you are either an alien or a science experiment gone wrong. So how old are you? I am also 10, the same age as Zatana. Look, kid, first we will have to check whether you can do magic or not. If yes, then maybe I will think about teaching you. As you wish, master. I take a step back with a chuckle. And don't think that I agree with you and my daughter's relationship. You are still kids. And don't tell her anything we talked about today, either. Now can I have my stuff back? He looks at the hat and wand floating behind me. I levitate the objects back to him, feeling happy inside that this ruse worked. Chapter 24. Dinah Drake, 1. Soups _ POV. Although John agreed to teach me, he said we would continue after he was back in his manor in San Francisco. He was urging me to go home fast, especially seeing how close Zatana seemed to me and how she happily hugged me when she heard that I may learn magic with her. She did invite me to come with them to tour Metropolis, but the glares John sent me were a clear sign that he had enough of me for today. I gave her my house's telephone no, and told her to call me whenever she wants. Before going, I gave her a quick hug and told her to enjoy the city, bowed to John saying master, and ran away, almost disappearing from their eyes, shocking Zatana in the process. Today went okay, I guess. It's good that John did not use heavy spells or any advanced magic, maybe because I looked like a child. This nth metal equipment creates a barrier nullifying any magic attacks. But it's magic, you never know what could happen, and I do not want to confront it until I know about it better, or I am that powerful. The story I told John had some truths, like Allura was a real threat which will send him away from Zatana for years. Zatana does come to JL for help to find her father, so I wasn't exactly wrong. But Zatana is never married to anyone, and that great evil beast is also a true powerhouse, and the Zatara family with many other powerful magic users come together to stop him. John sacrifices his life protecting his daughter, so someone did sacrifice himself. As I said already, there was some truth. Zatana and her mother are what is called homo magi. They have mana pools and are incredibly attuned and talented in magic, as it's natural for them. Morgaine Le Fay is also a homo magi. They have a hidden society and a Hogwarts-like place and everything. Much deadlier than the Harry Potter ones, though. It was interesting to see how Zatana, being a homo magi, reacted to the amulet. As it's the accumulation of all the magic, she would naturally be drawn to it. And I seem to have no control over the magic that is filling my body. Maybe after practice I can control the amulet enough so that I can have a normal conversation with her without her trying to touch me. Before going back home, I went to Gotham to meet Selena. On the way there, through my habitual scans, I saw a small scrawny blonde girl. She looked like a beggar, sitting by the dumpsters in an alleyway, holding her stomach and just staring at the ground. Before I knew it, I was in front of her. I know that there are so many children way worse than her condition in Gotham right now. I can see them and even hear them. Mostly I do not interfere until it's too severe, after which I just take them and drop them in front of correctional facilities. This is one of the reasons I hate this city, or mainly coming here, as I can't save them openly. It's not the time to come out yet. It's too early and I am still too weak. But I can't see her suffering, even while knowing that in some days a guy named Desmond will help her. She has and will have it tough her whole life. She is put in a place for orphans after her mother couldn't feed two mouths. But she could never live peacefully in the new foster homes, which were changed regularly because of her behavior. She ran away recently from all this and had been trying to survive on the streets of Gotham. Desmond will take her in and teach her how to fight in his dojo. But Desmond will be killed by the League accidentally. Dinah, while fighting them off, will be saved and recruited by some government agents. She will meet a guy at their training center and fall in love with him. They will participate in a government experiment giving her the power of sonic scream in the process. They will marry, but the guy will die in a mission soon. After which Dinah will run out of that place, and will go to another city and will live life as the vigilante Black Canary. She will soon join JL, where she will meet Green Arrow. They will fall in love and eventually marry and have a kid too. If I help her now, everything will change and she may never become Black Canary. As these thoughts run in my mind, I come near her and bend down in front of her, not minding the dirt and rubbish staining my clothes. Hey, are you hungry? I speak to her smoothly and gently. She looks up, scared of someone suddenly being so close to her without her notice, but is relieved when she sees it's just a boy. Still she hugs her arms close to her body in front of her chest. What do you want? She is barely able to speak with her dried mouth. Look, I have my home nearby. Would you like to come with me there? You could have some food, have a bath too, sleep on a comfy bed. You can leave the place tomorrow morning if you want. Chapter 25. Dinah Drake, 2. No, I am not hungry. Now go away, she says while clutching her stomach hard and looking down again. Look, we don't have a cleaning lady at my house, so you can do that and consider the food and bed as your payment. I tried again, clearly knowing how stubborn she is. Are you really giving me a job? Don't you have to ask your parents for that? She asks aggressively, pulling my shirt, speaking with a little more life in her voice. I looked down into her blue eyes. Her face was dirty, she was wearing an old denim jacket, underneath which was a torn gray t-shirt, and blue jeans which had holes in it. Still at this moment in my eyes she looked pretty. No, I live with only a friend of mine. Just come with me and you will know. Before she speaks anything else, I bend down and take her in a princess carry and zoom to the sky. What are you doing? Put me down. Put me down now, or I will bite you. She struggled a bit, looking at me in anger, and shouting aloud before realizing that we are flying pretty fast in the sky. Whoa. Shit, we are flying. We are seriously flying. For someone who was starving a moment ago, she sure was energetic. Before she can make more noise, we arrived at the balcony of an old building. Hey, are you God, or angel or something? She looked at me and the direction we came from. I ignored her question and put her down. I could already see Selena coming to open the glass door, probably from all the noise Dinah made. Selena comes out and looks at Dinah up and down. Dinah is still looking at me for my answer. So who is this and where did you pick her up from? Selena asks me, clearly not happy at me bringing a strange dirty girl to her house. Who are you? Dinah asks, only now noticing Selena and almost growling the question out. Selena, I will tell you everything. Let her take a bath first, and can you give some of your extra clothes for her to wear too, please? I look Selena in the eye. After a second she mouths okay to me and waves Dinah to follow. You first take a bath, and then we will have some food to eat. The questions can wait for later. Looking down at her clothes and smelling them a bit, she nods and goes inside quietly. I look down at Gotham, trying to ignore all the milder crimes happening within it. What the hell is Jim Gordon even doing? I checked and saw him writing a report in the police station. Please tell me that she isn't gonna stay here. You know I barely make do as it is. I can't feed another mouth. Selena comes up behind me, still a bit angry. I have told you to stop stealing so many times, Selena. Look, I have a way by which you can make much more money. But you have to promise me that you will consider my request of leaving Gotham City. I go ahead and hug her, running my hand through her smooth black hair. If not now, then in the future, whenever you are comfortable, I just need a yes from you. Look, I just worry about you. Gotham is not a nice place to live in. I tell her softly in her ears. Is this the money-making way you are talking about? She says, eyeing a small golden Egyptian artifact in her hands, which she took out from my pocket. There is a lot more where it came from. It's real gold and it was found in an authentic Egyptian burial site, so it is not stolen. I hold her hand, which is holding the artifact. I can give you them for selling. You take whatever commission you want. You can take all the money for yourself too. Just say yes. I rub my fingers over her lips gently, almost wanting to feel them again. Okay, yes. I will shift to a new city, happy. But not now, after I have made enough money here. She give me small peck on my cheek, clearly annoyed by how stubborn I was. Now tell me what's the deal with that girl? She asks, remembering the stranger taking a shower in her house. She has had a very rough life and I want to help her. Can you keep her with you for a while? You can make her do housework as payment. Why do you want to help her? Do you like her? But she is just a kid. But you are also a kid, she says, almost mumbling to herself in the end. Alright, don't think too much. Let me go out and buy some pizzas for us. I knocked gently on her head, and took back my wallet which she swiped from me while we were hugging. She stuck her tongue out to me cutely and went back inside. I look outside at the city, heave a sigh and fly fast towards it. Chapter 26. Magic, 1. Soups _ POV. I close my eyes and listen to the ocean waves crashing onto each other. This sound calms me down and lets my mind wander like it was flowing. When I want to get away from stuff or just to think something through, I come here in the Atlantic Ocean, in the middle of nowhere. I just sit above the water surface cross-legged and listen to the waves. I am 12 years old now. Much has happened over these 2 years. Lana and school are still the same. I have more friends now, and oddly I haven't still faced any kind of bullying. They are all close-knitted, nice small-town people. In the martial arts training, now mostly me and Sandra came up with new methods and styles to utilize our strength better. Carolyn, though unable to keep up with us, cheer us both on. On the first night while eating dinner, Dinah told us about her life. After that day, though Dinah and Selena argued a lot, I could see that they had gotten close. I told Selena that she could tell her my secret and left them to go home that night. The next time on my visit, Selena introduced me to her friend, a redhead named Pamela Isley, who has recently started living with her relatives in Gotham. She wasn't thrilled to meet me, which I knew why, and kept staring at the flowers in her backyard the whole conversation. I got her attention when I told her that I am gonna let Selena buy a house in the outskirts of Gotham, which recently went on sale, and it was being sold at a cheap price. She knew that it must be her old house. Though a bit sad, she told Selena that after she buys it, she would love to visit her house sometimes. I already knew getting near Pamela, the future poison ivy, won't be easy. But I have plenty of time. After Selena will sell the artifacts in batches, I wanted them to get a permanent place from that money. And as Selena was not ready to leave Gotham yet, the house in the outskirts, though a bit far, was the best place to buy. I started training both Dinah and Selena in martial arts. Maybe I should introduce them to the sisters in the future. I have befriended a girl named Lena who lives in a private orphanage in Metropolis. We occasionally meet in the garden nearby her orphanage. She has no idea who her real parents are or who funds her studies and her stay in this private lavish orphanage. But she considers me her one true friend over time. She will never know that she is gonna inherit the multi-million-dollar LexCorp because of me. But that will take some time, as I need to prepare and perfect my plan over the next 2 years, as that's when Lena would be officially adopted into the Luther family. The thing which I am most proud of is my magical study. I visited the Zatara mansion, which was outside of San Francisco City. The House of Mystery or the House of Secret. It looked just like an old mansion with nothing noteworthy. But the amount of myth connected to this place is numerous. But with John here, I won't be allowed to roam this place as I please. Even through my scans, it looked just like an old house. John welcomed me, saying Zatana still had to complete her homework. I have talked with her on the phone, and she complained how John has started increasing her magical studies. For the magic test, I was asked to repeat the chant, Editavel, and concentrate on myself. I felt the magic, which was invisible until now, move, and I started hovering above the ground. As I broke my concentration, the magic went back in my body invisible again, and I came back on ground. John was impressed and said that maybe my alien species was very talented in magic. He gave me books on magic theories and his personal notes, which he told me to remember from front to back and back to front. After which I had to learn many different languages and read books in that language. John said magic learning is a long process and there are no shortcuts. Well, me and Zatana are almost cheats in magic, so I wasn't worried. From that day onwards, I have learnt so much more daily. Now I can at least control the magic to not leak out of the amulet until I need it. Today they will be returning back from a show, and Zatana told me on the phone that her father is gonna bring home a new kid who will learn the art of escaping from him. I was just mentally preparing myself to meet Bruce once again after 4 years. This will be my best chance to befriend him. Chapter 27, Magic, 2. Soups_POV. I knew that Bruce was a good actor, but this was on a whole different level. I saw a young boy looking fit for his age, same black hair and black eyes, but with a bright smile on his face, introducing himself enthusiastically as Gary. I don't know why, but Zatana got even more clingy with him around. After some days she even asked me who was my closest friend, that Gary guy or her. Maybe I have been spending a bit too much time with Gary lately, making her jealous. But I was seriously surprised. He looked too different from that small kid crying in the alley. And he looked different from the Batman I have read too. He was dedicated to studying the escape art from John, was friendly to us both, and even laughed while playing games with us. How can someone fake it this much? And even when we were not around, he never broke his character. Only when Zatana asked about his parents could I see a bit of gloom on his face. One day while playing around the house, Zatana stumbled onto a door which we haven't seen before. I remember every inch of the manor, so I can say that there was definitely not a door on this wall. It was a wooden door with a golden boundary and a golden handle, but it looked ancient. After scanning inside to see what's behind the door, I asked Gary to stay out and keep a lookout for John. Zatana gave me a questioning look, still she accepted my decision. Gary or Bruce looked at me and Zatana shrugged his shoulders and stayed back. We both opened the door to look at a massive circular library, which was too big for this mansion. Zatana excitedly went in fast. I told Bruce to shout if John came and closed the door. I knew what this was. I was searching for this place from the start. This is the magical library of the House of Secrets containing immense magical knowledge. What John taught us before could only be considered general magic. If I wanted to be very good at magic or make my custom spells, only this library could help me. After 2 years I could use the amulet freely and do magic with just a thought. As now I could sense magic and the amulet gave me incredible control over it. But still without a spell the magic was too crude and it wasn't that powerful, but it did provide me with versatility. I know the amulet is much more powerful than this, and that's why I know that I still haven't become magically powerful. Zatana showed me the different magical artifacts which were placed around the desks. But I reminded her not to touch them as they could be cursed. After a while John came, but when he saw that Gary hadn't come inside, he just took him away. I hope he won't wipe his memory as he saw nothing. Me and Zatana stayed in the library reading different books. As Zatana now knew about me being an alien, I used my super speed without reserve. That's when I found the 2 spells which I was always looking for. The first one was how to make your own personal dimensional storage. It needed a lot of magic which I had, but still maybe I should ask Zatana's help on this one. The second was to make a custom magical barrier which can passively screen out the objects which you want. But this spell would need a very low but constant magic supply. It took me 3 days to completely scan the library books. I did find a ritual which would help me a lot, but it won't come into use anytime soon. We did meet Gary again, but he said that his training is completed and he is leaving. I was glad that John did not wipe his memory of us. We said our goodbyes. I went ahead and hugged him and spoke, very quietly in his ear that, "We will meet soon, Bruce." There was not even a reaction from him, like he did not even hear anything. He just smiled and waved goodbye. Zatana had no big reaction to him leaving. She was just jealous of how fast I could read and how I could remember and understand everything with a glance. I placated the big miss by explaining that now that I know this many spells, rituals and knowledge, I can help her better. I intentionally did not let her read any book about homo magi, as it would be dangerous for her to know about them right now. Leaving magic aside, one more thing was keeping me up at night. Planning the accidental death of Lex Luther. Chapter 28. Lex Luther, 1. Soups_POV. You can say that the most dangerous superpower Lex Luther has or will have is his genius intellect. I am 14 right now, and have observed him for the last 2 years. And I must say that he is a genius both in business and in scientific field. I have seen him argue and win against professors with PhDs in their fields. I have seen him make allies with other business giants when he doesn't even have the company yet. I have seen him get beaten by his father for his blatant disrespect for him. I have seen him beat his own maids for the smallest mistakes. So I have seen many sides to him, still it doesn't diminish my will to make him disappear, it only strengthens it. His father Alexander Luther Sr. made LexCorp from nothing to what it is now. The industry started from the petrochemical and heavy machine business. It even has a factory in Kansas. His father believed in the motto, offense wins the game, and hence he hasn't made many friends in the business circle. He loved his wife and they had named the company after his first-to-be-born son Lex. But she died during childbirth and Alexander became a changed man. Lena was born in the same year from Alexander's love affair. She was sent to an orphanage arranged by him. As Lex aged, his father's hatred for this son who took his love from him also grew. For him, though Lex was very intelligent, he always made him feel like he was beneath him. Alexander had started grooming Lena behind the scenes so she could take control of this corporation instead of his egoistic son. This year Alexander officially adopted Lena and brought her to his house. Lex welcomed his sister, which he always knew about, and had no problem accepting her, as he had made plans to inherit the company from way before. Lena and I came even closer after she got adopted. She did not take a liking to her new father, who was always so strict with her and kept teaching her how to crush all the opposition. She did not like her brother too, who though kept smiling at her never even looked at her properly. Although she got a family, it wasn't what she dreamed about. It was the day after she got adopted. She came back to her orphanage in a car saying she forgot some things there. She snuck out and met me in the agreed place at the nearby garden. As soon as she saw me, she hugged me and she kissed me passionately, after which she told how much she missed me even if we had seen each other the day before. The new house, new people and environment felt taxing to her. She told me this was her first kiss and asked if I liked her. I replied yes, but we are too small to date right now. She took it as me being shy. I haven't told her about me being an alien and we haven't met after that day, as I had things to prepare. Lex Luthor is dangerous because of his future obsession over Superman, me in this case. He will start envying me, loathing me, of how an alien can bring hope to this world's humankind. Lex will start hating how inferior I make him feel. He will make it his mission to rid the world of my presence and dedicate his entirety for my destruction. Even if he does by chance eventually become good, the amount of damage he has done will be impossible to undo. Bizarro, Doomsday, 5U93 R Pill, Virus X, Superboy, his war suit, Kryptonite ring, his never-ending schemes involving the League of Villains, all this would never happen if I make him disappear. Right now he doesn't even know about me. For him his biggest enemy is his dad and his loyal subordinates that want to hand the company to Lena. I had waited for a perfect chance, and it came when Lex boarded the chartered plane which was meant for his father, to steal from him an important business deal with a major airline company, in Dayton. He must have been wanting to increase his chips for the company takeover. Not knowing that his father will die anyway naturally in the next 2 years, he comes down from the plane, takes the car which was meant for his father from his bodyguards, and drives to the resort where the deal will take place, alone. On his way up the mountain road, Lex drives fast as he does always, confident in his driving skills. But he doesn't know I am looking at him from afar. As a sharp turn comes I close my eyes and use my connection to the amulet and think of what I want the magic to do. Lex_POV. Lex, seeing the road ahead, tries to turn the steering wheel to the right, but he finds it stuck and not moving. He tried the brakes but couldn't move it down an inch. Then thinking fast he tries to open the door and his seatbelt, but nothing opens. Everything he does is useless. As he sees his car nearing the cliff edge, he tries to break the side glass but it feels like he is hitting rubber. Nothing he does is working and he can see his death closing in. Chapter 29. Lex Luthor, 2. Soups_POV. I see the car leaving the ground and falling straight from the cliff. I see him still struggling and trying to open his suitcase. I know that there is a pill inside it, named Miraclo. It was made by Rex Tyler, a 40-year-old genius, now just a retired chemist. LexCorp took over the old Bannerman chemicals, and Lex found this drug in an abandoned superhuman project. It gives you an hour of superhuman abilities, after which you would become weak for an extended period of time. It does come with a lot of other limitations. One of them being it only be able to work on the inventor as he was the only human test subject recorded, the other being addiction to the drug. Lex was able to get the only remaining pill from the project 2 days prior, and he had kept it in his bag with him. Venom, the drug Bane uses, will be developed as a variant based on this Miraclo drug in the future. I see him try and fail to open his suitcase. He curls up trying to protect his bald head with his hands and knees. He must be hoping that the safety bags will maybe save him. Or maybe he figured out that he cannot count on the safety bags to activate, seeing how unresponsive the car had become. He must be thinking of reasons this could happen, or the person responsible. There must be countless thoughts going on in his genius mind at the end of his life. But for me it doesn't matter what he was thinking. As soon as I saw the car crash into the rocks below, I concentrated on the fuel tank in the car and spoke the magic word. EDOP. I see the car exploding in flames starting from the rear. I see him getting burned alive, still stuck to the seatbelt with his hand and leg crushed by the rock. He already lost his consciousness because of the impact. I protect the pill with my magic, inside the burning suitcase so that it doesn't go near him. I see his life go away and his presence vanishing. I also see his organs and lungs melting and his heart stopping. Editavel lip OTM. I see the pill getting out of the now destroyed car which is still burning and coming towards me. Even after seeing him die, I still go on. Arif Nrubthgurb. Arif Nrubthgurb. Arif Nrubthgurb. The fire gets huge and engulfed the whole car. Even the surrounding rocks start melting to lava. I take the pill in my hands and observe his skin melting, and then his skeleton melting with even the metal of the car melting. And at last, when I can't even see a cell of him left intact with my newly acquired microscopic vision, I stop providing magic to the fire. I just stand there and watch as the fire diminishes and disappears. I see a husk of black square which looks like scrap metal and black rocks around which are the cooled down lava. I recheck the scene 2 more times just to make sure. When I am done, I close my eyes for a second and see the face of the bald man melting, looking at me with his hollow skeleton eyes. Goodbye, Lex Luthor. I just open my eyes, feeling mentally tired, and leave the scene to go home. As I fly away, I remember the various pain in the beings who can just bring him back from another world. I will have to fix that problem in the future too. But for now I just wanted to sit outside my house and watch the farm. Watch the crops waving to and fro in the wind and not think about anything else. I go back home and do just that. In the evening as Mom came back from work, I hugged her tightly and just buried my face in her bosom. She kept asking what happened. I just said that I missed her and dragged her to my bed, where I made her lay beside me and I hugged her closely and closed my eyes, falling asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night, from the nightmare of Luther with a burning body asking me what he did wrong. I see my parents still asleep in their bed, not wanting to wake them up. I go out silently and fly outside Gotham to Kat's place. I see Selena and Dinah in their pajamas still awake and watching some movie on TV. They are surprised to see me in the middle of the night. Before they say something, I turn the TV and lights off, grab both of them, open the bedroom door and crash with them on the bed lightly. Understanding what happened, they both start struggling and asking to let them go. Dinah even tried to bite my shoulder. I give them both a peck on the lips and nuzzle them closer to me and speak gently to just hold me close please. They see my mood and quiet down. Looking at each other they get comfortable and I go to sleep again. I woke up to a news broadcast of how the son of the millionaire Alexander of the LexCorp Industries died in what is believed to be a horrible accident. Chapter 30. Vacation 1. Soups _ POV. I go to the kitchen, where I see Selena wearing an apron and making an omelet. She had her hair up and I could see her long white neck. I hug her from behind, kissing her neck. She responds by grinding her ass a bit on my raging hard-on. Looks like someone's woken up. You can go sit at the table and I will bring your breakfast over. She looks back at me and gives me a kiss. You are the best. I pat her ass lightly and sit at the table looking at the news. Dinah seems to be training outside right now. The news says the investigation is ongoing, but apparently some early sources say that this may be an intended attack on Alexander Sr., the owner and CEO of Lex Industries. According to their sources, the car may have been tampered with and there may even have been a bomb inside it, seeing the crash site. The car was supposed to be for his father, and Lex was not supposed to be the one driving. I think someone wanted to kill his father, and he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Selena keeps the plate with an omelet and a cup of coffee in front of me. I just smile at her and thank her. So you gonna tell me what last night was all about? She sits across from me and asks. Nothing, I just need to be close to someone and clear my head a bit. That bad, huh? Tell you what, you have holidays going on at school, right? Why don't me and you go somewhere for the day? I have nothing to do today anyways. I think for a bit. A vacation sounds nice. What about Dinah? She can stay home alone for the day, and either way she has not yet completed reading those books you told her to read. So she can't come. Okay, sure, I know a nice quiet place we could go to. Let me call it home first. I finished my breakfast and I picked up the landline and called home. Hi Mom. Yes, I am fine. No, I am not just saying that. I was just missing a friend of mine, so I went to her house. Yes, in the middle of the night. Yes, you could say that she is my girlfriend. The Gotham one I talked to you about. No, the other one. No, I am not dumping or cheating on Lana. Okay, Mom, listen, I will stay at her place for the day. No, we will just play some video games. I will probably come back tomorrow. No, I don't have extra clothes, but I will manage. Yes, I am really okay, Mom. Okay, bye, love you. I end the call. So you told your mom about me? And who is this Lana? Selena asks from behind me. I knew already that she was listening in secretly. Yep, I told you she invited you to dinner. Okay, let me go and buy some things for the trip. I go out avoiding Selena's questions. I correct Dinah's forms a bit. She goes on to ask if I was okay now. I reply yes and remind her to complete reading the books. I bought some stuff from some shops and kept it in my dimensional storage. I came back and told Selena that we are ready to go. She asked if she needed to bring anything. I just took her hand and said goodbye to a grumpy Dinah who said that she will complete her homework afterwards. Just let her come. I was almost gonna say yes seeing her cute grumpy face, but Selena said a straight no and told her to even do the laundry today. Before they both start their catfight again, I just take Selena away from there. While in the air, hugging me closely, Selena looks me in the eye and asks where are we going. I just gave her a mysterious smile. We crossed the land and in the middle of the ocean I stopped at an uninhabited island. Selena left me and went near the water and smiled back happily at me. You can see through the water. It is so clean. She takes a deep breath and looks around the island, the water, the coconut trees. It smells so fresh here, nothing like Gotham. She starts taking her clothes off, and I see a black laced bikini tightly hugging her perfect body. I had told her before going for shopping that we may go to a beach, but this is wow. She had grown so much over the years, and in the right places too. I too take off my shirt and pants while wearing the boxers I already bought at the store. I set up a beach tent for my storage. Take out other supplies like a beach mat, a sand stand, even a cooler with cold drinks and beer in it. Seeing me set up stuff, she goes in the water for a swim. I sit in my lounge chair and wear sunglasses. Not that I need it, but I bought them, so why not? I call her to come back and let me apply sunscreen for her first. I see her wet hot sexy body getting out of the water and coming towards me. Chapter 31. Vacation, 2. Soups_POV. I could see water droplets still on her flat-toned belly. Seeing the sun shine on her, I could see all her curves perfectly. She came near me, and seeing the outline on my boxers gave me the stink eye. She was going to take the towel for drying herself, but I took it from her hands and told her to lie down on the mat. Seeing how nakedly I was eyeing her body, she giggled a bit and laid down. Seeing her lying there on her stomach, I gulped a bit. I sat beside her and cleaned her body patiently with the towel, patiently removing all the sand and water from every part of her body. After that I rubbed sunscreen on her whole body, even going as far as removing her bikini so that I can apply it properly. She even came in the very end, when I got a little bit too teasing with her nipples, and then we started making out. This wasn't new for us. When she saw my boner for the first time, she had even given me my life's first handjob. We had gotten naked and had fun many times, but never taken the last step. After a while we calmed down and started talking. I was lying on the lounge chair and she was lying on me. She just watched the ocean and kept asking me questions. She asked me about my parents, about my planet, about my original parents, about my school, about Lena, about Dinah, about my martial arts study, about magic, about my dreams, about other girls. She asked about everything, yet I did not tell her everything. I trusted her, but she wasn't powerful enough to protect some of that information. Not yet. She just listened to me quietly, even when I answer her questions about the other girls. I too asked about her life, how her sister was doing, her plans, her dreams. She was very vague about the answers, but I guessed that she had a plan in mind, so I did not press her. As evening came, we went into the ocean for a swim and played around, mostly kissing and grinding against each other. As we came out, she and I both wiped each other off, and before I knew it we were both naked and she was sitting on top of me. Her back was touching my member, and I just looked at the beautiful woman sitting on me in a daze. Do you know, Clark, I have seen my mom's dead body lying in a pool of her own blood, in the bathtub. She said, looking in my eyes, speaking as if she wasn't talking about herself. I have seen my dad's dead body too, lying on the ground surrounded by alcohol. I take her in my arms despite her protests and rub her back rhythmically. My sister has a new family now, Clark. She says as I feel her sobbing a bit and teardrops fall on my shoulder. When I had nothing I met you, Clark. You made me feel that maybe life is not so bad after all, that maybe I can connect with someone else other than cats, that maybe I have someone who won't leave me alone in this world. I hold her head in the moonlight and make her look at me and wipe her tears away from her beautiful face. I know that you have other girls you like. I know that you are very powerful and strong. You can even fly and are incredibly smart too. I know that in the future you will do great things, and I also know that I am just an ordinary girl, who has no superpower. I have lived my life as a thief living of the streets. I had no dreams, no big plan, as life was just survival. But in the last few years having you by my side, I can't imagine my life without you. She bends down and starts kissing me. I reciprocate and I can taste her salty tears mixed with her kiss, making me feel bitter of how I could let her cry. She stops and takes my hard member in her hand. I didn't fall into this world on a spaceship. I don't know how to do magic. I don't know martial arts much. I know that I won't be able to monopolize you. So the only thing I can do to make sure that you don't ever leave me alone is to give my everything to you. She says, no tears coming out of her eyes and looking at me tenderly with care. I reverse our position and fix her below me and point my member at her entrance below. I kiss her madly for almost a minute. As I break away, I could see her being out of breath. I look at the hottest scene of both of my lives. Selena had moist eyes and red face, still looking at me intently. I fixed a strand of hair from her face. I could never leave you, Selena. I don't care about your past. You are a part of my life. You are my own lovely cat and I am never letting you go. I gently push it inside and keep going while still watching her reaction, a bit nervous as it was my first time. It was very hot inside her and it felt very tight too. I could see my member through her place with my eyes. That was weird. I refocused myself on her and kept on kissing her and stimulating her nipples so that she does not experience much pain. I heard her scream as I tore through the layer and saw a bit of blood in the juices. I love you, Clark. I am yours from now on, so please take care of me. She looks at me teary-eyed. I love you too, Selena, I said as I kissed her. Chapter 32. Vacation, 3. Soups_POV. After her pain subsided, I made her come thrice. At the end I came outside, on her stomach. I had endless stamina, but it was her first time and I could see that she was already exhausted. I wiped us both clean and we slept under the stars snuggling each other. I felt happy holding her in my arms. I still couldn't believe that I lost my virginity to such a hot girl. I woke up in the morning, flew away and bought her favorite burgers from Big Belly Burger and some milk as she would be craving a lot of food in the morning. I came back to see her woken up and raiding the cooler for something to drink. Seeing me come back with food, she kissed me and started devouring the burgers. I just sat beside her and watched her patiently. I also ate a burger and can tell that the burgers were definitely way better than MC Donald's of my previous world. I could see why there was such a craze about them. Maybe I should buy the chain in the future and further expand it. After breakfast, we went for another swim, only naked this time, and I got to know that water does make the experience more surreal while doing it. We got back at almost noon. I dropped her off and could see that Dinah was still pissed at us and refused to talk to me. I kissed Kat in front of a shocked Dinah and gave her a hug, ignoring her protest, promising that we would go on another trip soon, but she has to completely read the already bought books first. I came back home seeing that Mom and Dad were gonna have lunch. I joined them. Mom asked endless questions. I answered some, but still at the end I had to make her promise that I would bring both the girls home once, for dinner. Mom sent me out for grocery shopping and told me to ride the bicycle there, as a punishment for going out of the house at night without announcing and making them worry. I accepted it silently and went to the supermarket in the town on the bicycle. As I was browsing, I could see Chloe Sullivan coming towards the market. I knew that she moved here from Metropolis 3 days ago and was planning to meet her as Smallville High School started. But meeting before is fine too. I see her coming in, clearly trying to act that she wasn't new to this shop. I approached her. She was medium build with shoulder-length blonde hair and blue-green eyes. She had perky breasts and a small tight ass as I could see. Hey, hi, I am Clark. Are you new here? As I haven't seen anyone as cute as you around. I offered her a handshake. She stutters to answer yes while holding my hand, clearly flattered from my compliment. After which she goes on to introduce herself, and that was just the start. Apparently Chloe wasn't shy at all. We kept talking even after we both finished our shopping. She was excited to hear that we would both be in the same class. After which I showed her around the town and even took her to my farmhouse. She had a very spunky personality. Kinda like Dinah, just way more friendly. I really enjoyed talking with her, and even Mom and Dad liked her. She kept talking about how great she is with computers and hacking, and even told me that she could teach me if I wanted to, which I agreed to. She asked me if I would like to come to her house tomorrow. I replied that I would love to. When we were in my room, she asked me if there was anything supernatural here in Smallville, as she loved mysteries. Suddenly I got very close to her and practically made our lips touch. I looked into her eyes and told her that I am the only supernatural thing in Smallville, so she better stay very close to me, and then I back off acting like it never happened. She got an incredibly flushed red face. I could see that her nipples were erect and she was a little wet. She got excited from what just happened. She said that she was getting late for home and rushed out of the house. I called Lana's home and asked if she would come out with me for a movie. She enthusiastically agreed. While we were watching a movie, in the dark, in the corner seats, Lana was sitting in my seat on my lap, and I had a hand on her breast and other inside her panties. Lana had a hand covering her mouth and another in my hair. After she comes, I kiss her and she helps me with my issue with her hand. She wipes everything off with the tissue paper she brought. What a thoughtful girlfriend I have. After we got decent, I played with her hair while telling her that I met another blonde girl today. I go on to tell her about Chloe and how I showed her around the town and even my house, and that she would love meeting her when the school starts. Lana silently listens, but I could almost feel her becoming more jealous as the conversation goes on. But she doesn't ask me directly if I like her, as she knows how nice I can be to people, and maybe it's just her overthinking. I kiss her again and my dishonest hands find themselves inside her shirt again, feeling the softness. Chapter 33. Vacation 4. I go to sleep and think about yesterday night. After which I start thinking about all the girls in my life right now. As I think about Zatana, my hand goes to the amulet, remembering how we made my own personal storage and how convenient it made things for me. To make a dimensional storage you need to do specific rituals and enchant the item with magic, and it needs immense magic power which will directly correlate to its size, and we would need substantially finer control over magic. Magic I had enough, but I have to say Zatana had way better magic control than me, and over the years she has gotten even better. When I told her what I was gonna do, she agreed to help me on one condition, that I had to make one for her too. Well, her dad would have made one for her eventually, but I agreed anyway. Ideally you can choose any object as the medium to your personal mini-dimension, or the key to it if you will. I chose my amulet as the temporary one. I have a better object in mind for the future. She had to use all my magic freely. Technically amulet's magic, but she doesn't need to know that yet, and you need a certain amount of trust to use others' magic, or else it could go horribly wrong. I had to take off my shirt and she stuck close to me, almost pasting on my bare chest, saying close contact will make it easier. I didn't argue. She created a complex pattern in the air with my magic which took almost 3 hours even for her. In the end she grabbed the pattern from the air, which made it smaller, almost palm size. She pasted it on the back of the amulet, not on the gem, as I did not want to mess with the magic source. When asked what this amulet was and why could she sense such magic power from it, I told her it was with me when I came to this planet. It needed a drop of my blood, which I already prepared before. I had to control my bioelectrical aura for creating a gap and still had to use my heat vision. I could see that my blood was just simple red colored, looking not different than humans. Not that I wanted to donate blood or something. I took the drop of blood with my magic and kept it in a test tube with me. The wound closed almost instantly. I felt just a sting from the laser, mainly because I didn't want to hurt myself. I dropped the blood on the back of the amulet, and it flashed red for a second, which marked this pattern with my blood, making it accessible to only me. I could now even move this pattern to some other object, but I will have to empty the space before doing it, as it can create some fluctuations within. To open the bag, the key should be in touch with my body or magic, and I will have to use the spell Egorot's Nepo, and imagine the size of the round portal opening wherever I want. I cannot place living things in it, though it creates an almost time-static field inside, so I can stock up on food without worrying about expiry or it getting cold or hot. To take items out, I open the portal and thrust my hand in, imagining the stuff I want to take out from inside. To close the portal, Egorot's Isalk spell is used. After some days we created one for Zatana too, the key for which was just like her father's, a black magician's hat. Thinking about these things, I go to sleep. Next day I visited Chloe's house, meeting her father, who was a very friendly guy. I can see where Chloe gets her personality from and why she is such a tomboy. I knew from her that her divorced mother was in the mental asylum right now. I could do something to help, but not yet. Maybe in the future. We had fun at her house. She seemed to forget all about tomorrow and enthusiastically showed me everything from her photos, to her computer, to her hacking skills, to her privately written articles. I went back home and got a call from Lena saying that she wants to meet. In the evening we met at the same place. I could see that Lena is very good at organizing these secret meetings, as we haven't been caught yet. I meet her and she enthusiastically hugs and kisses me. Clearly she has not forgotten our last meeting. I ask her how she is coping with the news of Lex's death. She says that she was shocked, but she didn't know him that well, and his father's cursing of how this was all his enemy companies doing to kill him did not help. She asked me shyly if we could be considered dating now. I look at the brown-haired beautiful girl in front of me. She looked nervous by my silence. I let go of her hands, making her even more anxious. You should know one thing about me first. What? I go ahead a step and hug her close to me, and we both start hovering above the ground. I am an alien. Chapter 34. Vacation. 5. Soups _POV. Lena was shocked, surprised, and confused. I left the place before she could say anything, telling her to call me when she has thought things through. The next day, I went for my martial arts session with Sandra and Carolyn. But from afar I saw that there were many masked people in black clothes at different locations throughout Detroit, particularly near the restaurant. Inside I see the sisters performing for the crowd. And in the front line of the crowd I see David Kane, the white-haired old bastard, who had various weapons hidden inside his clothes. I could see him scanning Sandra from head to toe, like he was inspecting his own property and his disdain for Carolyn. Through all the spars, I have started to tell people's mood from their body language. Not that he was doing a good job of hiding it. I wanted nothing more than to kill him right here, thinking about all the things he will do to the sisters in the future, if left alone. But I can't do that. He was one of the top assassins in the League of Assassins, and his murder will bring unwanted attention to me and to the sisters. He will also be teaching Bruce in the future the art of killing, so that's another reason why he should be kept alive for now. I had a different plan for him. I did not go near, as I knew that he will not do anything right now. Him being a very meticulous person, and will keep observing them for a couple of days. Even if he tries something, I can quickly come back. I went to San Francisco, picked up Zatana from there, telling John that we are going out for a movie. I secretly told her to bring her magic hat in a bag, so her father doesn't know. While on the way I told Zatana that my friends are in danger because of a person, and we can't kill him as there is a very big dangerous organization behind them. I along with Zatana entered the dojo, and we had changed our faces and clothes with a short-lived illusion spell. The show was still ongoing. We both stayed in the back, and I silently cast a spell. Tup my Niaknart. I see David's eyes lose focus, and I see his body relax visibly. I went forward and stand beside him and cast another silent spell. Owlof M. I started moving, avoiding the crowd, and he followed me quietly to the restroom. I observe other people and am glad that no one seems to have eyes on us. I had checked the people already but wasn't sure if there was someone from the League inside the restaurant except David. Still, I didn't want to take any chances and asked Zatana, who was already inside, to do it fast. What I wanted to do was tweak his memory a bit, and make him believe that he observed the Asian girls but found them lacking to produce him a worthy offspring, and maybe he should go to China for his search. The reason I brought Zatana is that she is exceptionally talented in memory manipulation. I knew so from the comics as she did manipulate memories of various JL members multiple times. But over time I realized that the Zatara family are just talented in this regard. I was not that great at it still, and I did not want to take any chances, especially when the sisters' lives were at stake. I also asked her to add in an extra fake memory of him coming to the restroom for a leak during the show. Zatana does all this in less than 30 seconds. We resume our illusions and leave him here going back to the crowd. I stop the magic fueling the first spell, and I observe him looking himself in the mirror inside the restroom with a bit of disappointment. He comes out and goes straight out of the restaurant into a car and calls someone from inside. I hear him talking that the operation is cancelled and they should retreat. He drives the car away, and I observe him and the League members moving out of the city orderly. I give a thumbs up to a waiting Zatana, but just to be sure we still stay here until the show is done and the crowd disperse. As everyone goes out, we undo our illusions in front of the sisters, surprising both of them. The sisters knew about Zatana a bit from my talks about how I am learning magic with martial arts too. Carolyn bombards Zatana with questions as we go to their house. Zatana was also excited to learn a bit of martial arts, having heard so much about it already from me. She goes inside one of the rooms to change her formal dress to something more comfortable given by Carolyn. Sandra just keeps silent the whole way, seemingly not in a good mood. Carolyn then tells me that an old man was staring intently at both of them today during the performance, and it felt very weird. Hearing the questions, Sandra looks at me wanting to know my view. He won't be bothering you from now on. Why, who was he? What did he do? And what did you do to him? Sandra asks abruptly. You do not need to know. Let's just say I did not like the way he looked at you both. Chapter 35. Vacation. 6. Soups_POV. Carolyn hugged me at my reply, thanking me for becoming her knight in shining armor. I just patted her head and looked at Sandra, who just smiled a bit and went out to train. As we were leaving, Zatana told us that she wanted to learn martial arts too. When I offered that I could teach her, she rejected me flatly, saying that she would be learning it from Carolyn. I asked her why, and she told me that she saw the high-intensity spar between me and Sandra and would rather learn simple things for protection from Carolyn. I could see that they both already became fast friends. I dropped her back at her place, promising that I would take her to Detroit with me sometimes. I go home and get a call from Lana in the evening. She apologized, saying that she tried but couldn't get away from her father today to meet. She told me she doesn't mind and was rather very happy with me trusting her with my secret. She just declared that this settles it and we are officially dating now. Technically in secret until she introduces me to her father. I said that I was not in a hurry and we decided to meet sometime next week. I went to Kat's house as I wasn't able to come yesterday and see Pamela sitting in front just silently staring at the flowers. I sit beside her and look at the green-eyed, red-haired, pretty girl sitting beside me looking at the flowers happily. I run my hands through her smooth red hair. She turns her attention towards me, feeling a bit uncomfortable by my touch. Not minding her reaction, I cup her face with both my hands. You can talk to me, you know? I will listen and pay attention to you better than those flowers. You just have to trust me and open your heart to me a bit. She gives me a sad smile and rubs her face into my hands, liking its warmth. I take a bit of a leap and remove my hands and proceed to hug her. She is shocked by the hug but calms down after a while and goes to sleep listening to my heartbeat. I stay like this, giving a smile to Selena and Dinah, who were watching everything secretly. Selena smiles back and takes Dinah away, telling her quietly how she should continue reading. I look at the flowers which were planted here already when we bought the house, and remember about Pamela Isley's story. She lived in this same house with her parents. Her father was a very violent man and abused her mother frequently. She would see her mother with a new injury every few days. Her mother loved gardening, and these flowers were planted by her. She used to tell Pamela how only flowers listened to her and how if she was very quiet sometimes she could hear them talk back. Her father, after every beating, used to bring a bouquet of flowers the next day for her mother, asking for forgiveness, and her mother would happily forgive him. She learned how easily people could be manipulated with things like flowers at a very young age. One night her mother tried to defend herself. In anger, her father killed her and buried her in the same garden that she tended. Pamela called the police and locked herself in the room. The police came and her father was sentenced to a life in prison, and Pamela was sent to her relatives in Gotham. In comics, she will go on to become a biochemist. She would experiment with plants at her home and would make drugs which enhanced someone's focus while also keeping you in a euphoric state. It had a side effect of making you submissive and easily manipulated. She would use this on boys and men, seducing them and getting whatever she wanted. She would get arrested for selling an illegal drug, but she had already seduced the dean with her charms, who dropped the charges, and she would even go on to get the degree with the highest honors. After that she would make a toxin which is untraceable in the form of lipstick, and would go to meet her father in prison, kissing him on the lips, who would be mysteriously found dead the next day. She would go on to work in the biochem department producing cosmetics and pharmaceuticals for the Wayne Industries. She would use her newly developed drugs on the company officials, seducing them, and meeting Bruce Wayne, introducing him to her drug, and how it can basically cut the marketing costs to zero. Bruce would call it a brainwashing drug and fire her, telling her to leave empty-handed as her research is also company property. She would try to leave with her research, but while escaping from security, her own drugs would fall on her, making her skin burn and changing her completely to poison ivy. Her skin would turn green, and she would gain the control of all plant life with her mysterious connection to the green. She would go on to become a very powerful villain who was immune to all poison, as well as could make plants grow very fast with different effects. She would once turn the whole Gotham City into a garden, almost killing everyone or turning them into plant zombies by her poison. She would have no qualms for human life, as nature would become her everything. I do not want her to change into that, even if in the end she would return to nature and would stop killing humans. Chapter 36. High School, 1. Soups _ POV. I looked in the mirror while getting ready for my first day at Smallville High School. I looked extremely handsome, as tall as 6 foot with a perfect 6-packs and the same young face of the actor from the Man of Steel movie. On the first day, seeing my height and body, the seniors did try to emphasize my role as a junior, to which I made them more honest by making them all lie down on the bathroom floor. My friends knew that this would happen and were not surprised, but it did make everyone aware of who not to mess with. I included Chloe in my group and introduced Lana and everyone to her. And I especially told Lana to take care of her as she was new in town and did not have many friends. Lana agreed, though a bit reluctantly, as she could see how close I and Chloe were. I basically snatched the position of quarterback in our high school team, the Smallville Crows. During the tryouts I challenged the hot-headed coach Walt Arnold, that I am the best quarterback he would see in his teaching career, and only by giving me the position could he hope to win the state championships ever again. Angry at being taunted by such an arrogant junior, he personally took my tryouts, but after watching me play changed his tune of how I am the destined kid who will fulfill his legacy. I managed my strength to acceptable levels, so he would get impressed and make an exception for me. I joined the team as I wanted to be the popular guy and make this years of school a bit more fun. Lana did not join any club. I knew she had a lot of work to do, but I wanted to see her in a cheerleader dress cheering me on. When I told her this, she accepted to go for the tryouts shyly. Basically a day before, I told her about my plan after high school and asked for her help. I knew this was a very big thing that I was asking of her, and it was a very risky decision too. She immediately answered yes, feeling very happy to be asked for such an important position. I repeatedly told her the risks, as well as assured her too that I am very confident that this plan would work and I would never ask if it wasn't beneficial for her. Her reply didn't change. And so she was learning things and preparing for our future. That was also one of the reasons she accepted Chloe as a friend, as she knew Chloe's computer skills would help her a lot. Chloe joined the Smallville Torch newspaper club. I knew that she wanted to be a journalist and did not stop her. With time our three's friendship grew. Lana, being my official girlfriend, was never approached by any guys, and even seniors knew to not mess with me. But Chloe was getting attention from a guy in my class, and being the friendly girl she was, she never outright rejected his advances. During the school break, I grabbed her hand and brought her to the back of the school where no one was around. I knew that Lana saw us and was secretly following to see what was going on. I approached her and kept advancing near her. Chloe just kept backing slowly with a blush, her ever-speaking mouth unusually silent. Her back touched the wall and her whole face went red, as we were very intimately close right now. I caressed her cheek, telling her that I feel very jealous when she gets close to other boys. The only one who is allowed to be close to her is me. She looked at me with a red face and watery eyes. I could practically feel her happiness. I have seen her look when she knew that I already had a girlfriend named Lana, but she kept it in and never displayed any of her jealousy and disappointment. I kissed her near the lips, saying that I would be needing her private computer lessons frequently from now on, so she has to be available for me anytime, and I backed off. She replied with a silent and rushed off with a racing heart. I looked to the direction where Lana was hiding behind the trees with tears streaming down her face. As I came near her, she just kept looking at me, still unable to hold back her tears. "Why, Clark? Why? Am I not enough for you?" she said quietly, trying to keep her voice from breaking. I go ahead and clear the tears from her face and hug her close. She does not reject my hug and keeps sobbing silently in my chest. Then she looks up at me with her blue eyes and tear-stricken face. "Was it because we didn't have sex yet? I told you we can do it. I am ready, Clark. No, Lana, it's not sex. You did nothing wrong. I kiss her wet lips and tell her softly. So why, Clark? Tell me why. You know how much my chest is hurting right now. Seeing you with her so close and intimate, I felt so hurt. I even felt that this was an illusion, thinking that my Clark would never do that he would never cheat on me. Didn't you say that you love me, Clark? Chapter 37. High School, 2. Soups _POV. It hurt me deeply seeing Lana crying and in this state, but I always knew this moment would come. I take her face in my hands, looking lovingly at her swollen red eyes and tired face. I have known you all my life, Lana, from the moment my mom placed me in a crib with you when you were just months old to our first kiss on your pink bed. I remember each and every moment with you. They are my precious memories. They are a part of me. You are a part of me. I have loved you for a very long time, Lana, and can never separate myself from you. You know my heart, so you know my love for you. I kiss her again passionately, this time like I am devouring her, and Lana returns the kiss with the same passion. After some time our lips part, a line of saliva still joining them. She looks up at me with love, but then remembers the incident. So was this all just a play? You do not like Chloe? And how can you remember things when you were just months old? She asks me with no more tears, just looking a bit confused. I let her face go and place my hands on her waist. I've wanted to tell you something for a very long time, but I never found the right opportunity. I will tell you everything about me today. Just don't scream, all right? Before she could ask what I meant, I took her to the skies fast so that no one could see me, except for Chloe, who had returned after finding that I did not come back yet and had been standing at a distance. She was incredibly scared finding Lana with me and realizing she must have already seen them before. As I see Lana going to scream from the shock of finding herself flying in the sky, I seal her lips, entwining our tongues and making her calm down. After I find her body relaxed, I stop kissing her and take us just above the clouds. She sees around in confusion and grips me tightly, finding clouds beneath her feet. After a moment seeing us both just hovering there, she asks me, Clark, you can fly? But how? Do you have superpowers? I always felt odd why you were so fascinated with superheroes even after we grew up. I proceed to tell her about the things I remember from my childhood, my original parents, the space capsule, Krypton exploding with my parents, me waking up in the arms of my new parents, my childhood, finding out about my powers, training it diligently for years to keep them in control so I do not look weird and can live normally. Knowing that I was an alien never helped me. The more I grew, the more powers I gained and the harder it became to control them. It made me increasingly realize that I was alone in this whole world. I was different from everyone. It made me aware that I could never become a normal human being, and I was probably the only one alive from my planet. Seeing how sad I looked, Lana hugged me tight, having tears in her eyes. You are not alone, Clark. I am with you right here. My parents loved me unconditionally even after knowing my powers. But I was afraid all my life of how people would react when they see me, how the government would try to control me seeing what I was capable of, how all my friends and my parents would be taken away from me if this secret gets out. I was even sometimes scared of myself, that if I lost control, everyone close to me, you, my parents, my friends, they could be killed by my hands. No, Clark, look at me. I know you, even if I didn't know about your powers and all, but I know your heart. You can never ever hurt me or the people you care about. Remember when in your house I was making a dish for you and I cut my finger? How you rushed to my side asking what happened. I loved how worried you were even after checking the bleeding to be stopped. She gives me a kiss and nestles her face on my neck. You don't understand the loneliness I feel, Lana, of how much I crave a family in this foreign world. I crave affection. Lana. It fills this deep loneliness in my heart. And that's why I cannot ignore someone's love for me. I cannot ignore Chloe, and I definitely cannot ignore you. I don't know what purpose my parents sent me in this world, but after staying here for many years, I came to understand that it would be very difficult for this world to completely accept an alien with such great power. And so I have dreamed, Lana, to have a big family filled with people who would love me unconditionally, and I would spend my life loving and caring for them back. I looked at the now stunned Lana and tightened my hug a bit, bringing herself even closer. I know it's a very selfish dream. You can slap me, beat me, be angry with me. But I will never let you go. As for me, you are already a part of my family. I don't mind you being an alien, I don't mind you being so different from me, I can accept all that, Clark, but I just can't accept any other girl being with you. I just can't. I can't even see you being intimate with Chloe. For me, you are my whole world, Clark. When you told me your future plan, I agreed readily, because for me you come first. Can you say the same for me, Clark? Lana asks me, tearing up again. I know I am very selfish, but I also know you are the kindest and the sweetest girl I know, Lana. You have a very big heart. And Chloe is a very nice girl, so I know you will accept her. We will be a family in the future, and she will be your sister. We will stay together forever. I will protect you all and love you all, with all my heart, with all my power. I say while kissing her tears softly on her face, and placing her hand on my heart, and placing mine over hers. I see Lana close her eyes and feel my heartbeat through her hands. Yes, you are a very selfish jerk. You are basically a bastard. She says to me angrily. But I can't leave you, but I can't accept Chloe either. What to do, Clark? What should I do? She whispers softly while placing her head on my chest and her ear in front of my heart, tiredly with a bit of helplessness. Why can't you just stay mine, Clark? She says, opening her eyes and kissing me through tears. All right, don't cry now. We have a lifetime to figure these things out. Right now we should have talked with Chloe, as she already saw me taking you to the sky. And I don't want that to be the headlines in the school paper tomorrow. Hearing Chloe's name again, she flinches but nods while hugging me again tightly and burrowing her face in my chest. Chapter 38. High School, 3. Soups _ POV. I wiped her face carefully so no one could tell about her crying session, but still her eyes looked a bit puffy and red. We go down and see Chloe still at the same place looking around in the sky and thinking something. Looking at me with Lana, Chloe stops whatever question she was gonna ask and looks down ashamed. I realize Lana is staring at Chloe. I release her from my hug and she goes near her. Chloe closes her eyes expecting a slap. Lana looks at the scared girl in front of her and just sighs helplessly. Can you not tell anyone what you saw today, please? Lana asks Chloe softly. Realizing her not pursuing the earlier matter but asking about something else, Chloe cheers up a bit and immediately replies, but Clark can fly. He has superpowers. I need to take an interview of him. He would become famous. Chloe then looks at me, her earlier embarrassment totally gone. Clark, are you an alien? Did you come in a ship? Or are you a secret government project? Or did you get your superpowers from a meteorite? Do you have other superpowers? Wait, don't answer right now. Let me bring my notebook so I can write everything down. We can take some photos too. This is big news. I have to publish it in my paper. Before the overly excited Chloe goes off somewhere, I stop her by her arm. Seeing me holding her so forcefully, Chloe calms down and blushes, remembering about before, and takes a look at Lana. I see Lana message her forehead, probably getting a headache from all this, but before I could say something she takes Chloe's other hand. I will have a talk with her. You go to your football practice. Seeing her serious look and making sure that she is not angry, I release Chloe. But before going, I kiss Chloe's cheek and Lana on her lips. Stunning both of them, I vanish and leave both of them alone. Football was easy for me. Most of the times I skipped practice and the coach just let me be, knowing how talented I was. Still, playing in a team was fun, as even if I was the best player, I couldn't just win by myself. My teammates were very upset with a junior getting the main quarterback position, but after some games we became quite good friends. There were still some jealous people, but knowing what happened to other seniors who messed with me kept them in line. Lana became a cheerleader easily. And she also had a very intimate talk with Chloe, while I was eavesdropping. She asked everything about her life and knowing about her parents' divorce and how after that her mother was admitted to the mental hospital, did gain her many sympathy points. Lana told her that she looked like a good girl and if I trusted her then so would she. Lana then goes on to explain things about me, even telling her all the embarrassing stories. They practically stayed together the whole second half of the school. She convinced Chloe to keep things about me a secret, as it will bring me a lot of trouble. When Chloe heard Lana say that they would need to work hard together to help me a lot in the future, and that she wanted her to be good friends, even maybe sisters at some point in the future, I could see Chloe's eyes getting moist and then hugging Lana tightly, saying she would love that. I was very impressed by Lana and even took her atop Eiffel Tower for a private candlelight dinner that evening. A little magic and my personal storage space made booking it unnecessary. She said it was the most magical experience of her life. And I could see that she was holding me tightly with a sweet smile on her face, looking at my face the whole way during our return. Years passed. We won football state championships for both years consecutively, making me famous as the star quarterback and inflating the coach's ego even more, as he kept saying he was the one who found me and trained me. I received special rewards from both the girls. In the after party, I took Lana to one of the closed classrooms and we made out, her still wearing the cheerleader costume, making me all excited. Chloe too attended the party and gave me a stealthy kiss when asked for a reward. They both got along well now, especially since Chloe had to help Lana a lot with the information she needed. They both kept the other girls who came after me away too, which I didn't mind at all. In the second after party, they both took me to an empty classroom and I made out with both of them. In the end, it even turned into a competition of sorts, exciting me further, and it ended with both of them holding my member and making me come. They refused to do anything naughty together after that day, saying how embarrassing that was. We still went on dates, mostly on individual dates, but sometimes 3 of us would go out together. They both would try and not make the other one upset, making my life a bit easier. Well, I am 16 right now, and I have decided that it's time to visit the Fortress of Solitude. Chapter 39. Fortress of Solitude, 1. Soups_POV. I go to my dad and tell him that I am ready to see the ship I came in. He nods silently and takes me to the shed where we keep the animals, and then I help him open the underground trapdoor. I am not surprised to see it, as I have already seen the pod lying here. I go down and bring it above the ground like it's nothing. I inspect it and find that it has a very sleek shape, black-colored with a small compartment space having a glass opening. There is a metal piece which has a press-in switch-type structure on the side. I push the small rectangle switch in and the glass door opens. My father describes the story of how they found me in his own view. In the end, he hugs me and gives me the S-crystal, saying he found it inside the ship's compartment with me. He wishes me best of luck and tells me to not forget them after finding it, or Martha would be very upset. I smile at how simple and sweet my parents are and hug him again, reassuring him that this is and will always be my home. I put the pod and the crystal inside my storage with the spell. Before going to find the Fortress of Solitude in Canada, I will have to solve a minor issue. The thing is that if I enter the ship and activate it with the crystal, then there will be a distress signal sent. Now I am pretty sure that General Zod and his loyal army is still in the Phantom Zone, so they won't be the real threats right now. But the distress signal would make Earth a beacon for anybody to follow. So I will have to find another way to first hack the ship and turn off the distress signal, as it is still sending a very weak signal. One of the main reasons why the US military could locate it under 18,000-year-old ice. So, I will have to find Doomsday first. I fly to Texas and dive down into the canyon lake while strengthening my barrier and manipulating the surrounding water so I do not make much disturbance. I reach the underground bed of the lake, and then the real work starts. I use my tactile telekinesis to the maximum and go down inside the ground. What I do is that I use my ability and make space in front of me and fill the space behind me. While doing so, I use my X-rays to the fullest of my abilities. I keep going down for like a minute and I see it, a bit farther than me. It's a huge structure, almost indistinguishable from its surrounding. If only it did not have what looked like an empty cabin made from crystals in between. Huge pointed rock protrusions are connected in every direction except middle from the cabin, and in the middle there is a ring-like rock structure which gives it the feeling of an orbit. I go ahead and I feel no resistance, so go on to touch the middle orbit ring. Suddenly all the rocks connected to the cabin, including the ring, change to crystals, and they keep shrinking and disappearing inside the cabin. After 5 whole minutes I could see that all the surrounding rocks are just ordinary rocks and the crystals are nowhere to be seen. There is a clear hard ground under my feet and a clear path has been made to the cabin. I reach the cabin and the wall forms a door and I enter inside. I could see the interior of the ship made from a mixture of some metal and the crystals I saw before. In the middle of the cabin, I see a raised crystal platform with a space in the middle. I take out the so-called command key, which is the S-crystal that Dad gave me, and insert it inside the platform, which is the command center for this ship. Yes, this is what I wanted to find. This is the Doomsday, the ship. During Krypton's golden age, the ancestor of General Zod, Drew Zod I or Admiral Zod, was the most renowned military commander and led a fleet of warships across the stars to scout for new potential conquests. No one knows what happened, but the command ship of his fleet, which was called the Doomsday, crash-landed on Earth some 300 years ago and went underneath Texas. The speciality of Admiral Zod's ship, or his whole fleet, was that it was entirely made up of sunstones. The sunstone ships were so powerful that they were able to devastate entire planets with just one ship. Now the uses of sunstone are endless. It's most commonly known as Kryptonian growth crystal. It can be called a miracle mineral as it has properties such as being light, infinitely programmable, self-repairing, storage of vast power, could store incredible amounts of data and could transfer this data at light speeds. It was a very potent construction tool. If programmed, a small fragment could transform to large-scale sunstone formations. The ships formed from sunstones launch a fragment of themselves as massive crystal missiles on the enemy planet, which would cause a large impact damage on the enemy structures. However, it won't stop there and will take a route into the enemy ground. Then it will draw the nearby matter and reshape and convert it into automated battle constructs who will go on to destroy the enemy planet. It can be used as an interrogation tool to extract memories and project them to someone else's mind. It can also be used to disrupt teleportation. Chapter 40. Fortress of Solitude, 2. The Doomsday itself has more unique properties like force field manipulation. The ship can create almost impermeable barriers. Geomorphing. The ship is sentient and can change its infrastructure to whatever it needs at will, like anything from a floating warship to a giant robot. Crystallo drones. The ship can fire lasers, and so could its crystal projectiles. Assimilation. It can absorb and mimic anything it is introduced to, even including the radiations produced by different kryptonites. This ship was supposed to be found by Lex Luther in the future, and he would try to use this against me. Well, now it's mine, and he is dust. As the command key is inserted, I see the crystal cabin shine, and the platform goes down into the ground. Then I hear a female voice coming from apparently everywhere. Recursive diagnostic complete. Guiding presence authenticated. All systems operational. And then in front of me, I see my original father, Jor-El. Looking the same as he did when I was just a child, he was wearing a dark overcoat with an undershirt with S on it. The symbol of House L. I could see that he was just a hologram as he couldn't fool my eyes. I couldn't feel his life presence either. What followed was a long dialogue straight out of the movie Man of Steel. I played my role perfectly. I did tell him what I remember from my memories of when I was a child. He said I have evolved far beyond what he can imagine. He confirmed that this was the Doomsday and explained its functions to me. Before we could have the why I was sent here discussion, I asked him if there were another Kryptonian vessel nearby. He told me that there were 2 more in total except this ship. One was the scout ship underneath the Ellesmere Island, Canada. And the other was a space pod similar to the one I came in. The pod was apparently orbiting the Sol system, which is our solar system. I think that pod must be Kara. At least she didn't end up in Phantom Zone. I had no time nor intention to take care of a moody superpowered teen right now. Let her sleep for a couple years, and then I would bring her. I asked my father to hack the ship and turn off its distress system first. After that, start the ship and send it to the North Pole. I told him to make sure that the government can't track the ship. I realized that when I give orders, my father behaved just like a programmed AI executing my tasks. He has almost no opinion about my orders unless asked. I knew that if the government were observing that place, then the spaceship coming out of the ground and flying away would alarm a lot of people, but I wasn't that worried about it. I asked him if there was a way the Doomsday could travel to the North Pole away from any prying eyes silently. He informed me that this ship could take the shape of anything I want. I told him to reduce the size of the ship to the original crystal shard, and to bring everything which couldn't be changed to sunstone crystals in front of me. He just opens a door in the cabin, and I see another room filled with Kryptonian battle armors, energy lances, Kryptonian rifles, and pistols. I stuff everything into my storage. Seeing me do that, Jor-El asked stunned if I had awakened my magic gene. I asked him confused what he was on about. And he explained that there was a very secretive group of Kryptonians known as Kryptonian Magi who lived secluded in the Valley of Juru, which remained unexplored even after Krypton became technologically advanced. It is said that they interbreed mostly, and the only Magi who he has seen in all his life is Kara, my cousin's uncle. The gene was very hard to be found in the Kryptonians and harder to awaken unless you are not a born Magi. The more I heard, the more similar it seemed to Homo Magi of Earth. Just then Jor-El said that the ship had reached the North Pole. I went out of the room and find myself underground again. The room behind me starts absorbing each other, and in the end all I could see are 2 crystals in front of me. One of them being the black command key and the other a clear crystal of similar size. I store both of them and get out of the lake again towards the North Pole. I see the black metal ship docked on ice. I leave it alone and find a remote location somewhere in the center of the glaciers. I dig a hole there in the ice and drop the sunstone crystal inside. I fly away waiting for it to start construction. And look back at the scout ship. This is Scout Ship 0344. It has a genetic chamber and all the basic amenities including food, water, clothing facilities. The crew had been killed by a prisoner and he died shortly after, making the ship crash on Earth many years ago. The sunstone crystal keeps multiplying by absorbing the ice and water nearby. After nearly 10 minutes, I see a large trapezoidal superstructure in front of me. It's so big that the scout ship looks small in comparison. Now this is what I can call the real Fortress of Solitude.